Welcome to the Sports Showcase event on Harvard TV. I am Ray Hers, and I am here with my broadcast partner, Kathy Bendis, and we are at the Magnolia Middle School Net Auditorium for the Boys UCMAC Championships. Before we go into other things, I want to welcome Kathy. Thanks for being here, Kathy.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to a great meet tonight.
So we're going to do a quick recap of the girls' meet last night and give a little shine to the girls' podium placers and champions. I will say that Falston High School won. So this is the girls' 200 medley relay, and Falston was first place, and their girls were Kate Taylor, Lucy Playstead, Lily Allman, and Sadie Greer. Second place was Patterson Mill. Third place was Havre de Grace. Next event is the 200 freestyle. And first place winner was Lucy Playstead with Lily Allman, her teammate, as the runner-up, and Carolyn Pennington from Elkton, third place. For the girls 200 IM, we had Kate Taylor coming into a really good comeback, and second place was Megan Wynn, and third place was Patterson Mill's Ava Shore. In the 50 freestyle, we have Gabriella Arasso is our champion with second place Gabby Broku and third place Ella Seifert from C. Milton Wright. For the 100 butterfly, Megan Wynn was our champion. Second place from Falston was Lily Allman, and third place from Havre de Grace was Cassidy Howes. For the 100 freestyle, our first place winner was Ellie Hansen from C. Milton Wright, followed by Gabriella Arasso, Patterson Mill, Anna O'Leary from North Hartford. For the grueling 500 free, we have Kathleen Ripke from Edgewood as our champion, followed by Lucy Playstead from Falston and Carolyn Pennington from Elkton. In the 200 freestyle relay, our champions were Patterson Mill with Hannah Persing, Molly Cooper, Ava Shores, and Gabriella Arasso. Second place was Hartford Tech, and third place was Bel Air. In the girls 100 backstroke, we have Kate Taylor with another championship from Falston. Second place was Gabby Broku for her second place finish. And our third place was C. Milton Wright freshman Tegan McKendry. In the 100 breaststroke, we had a double winner again with Catherine Whipke from Edgewood pulling out the narrow victory over Ellie Hansen from C. Milton Wright, with Ava Shores coming in third. And last but not least, our 400 free relay, Falston with another team relay championship, Kate Taylor, Sadie Greer, Lily Allman, and Lucy Playstead. C. Milton Wright with 4 underclassmen coming in second place, and Havre de Grace with a young squad also getting third. We have a picture here of many of our girl champions here. We have Megan Wynn, Gabrielle Rosso, Ellie Hansen, Kate Taylor, and Lucy Playstead. And then we were missing Catherine Whipke, so we took another picture with Catherine here with Ellie Hansen, good friends. And our last picture is Falston celebrating, I will find out later, Kathy, but I think it's their second or third girls championship in a row, so happy group there. Great job, girls.
Awesome. Way to go, Cougars.
So Kathy has a little bit bias here, folks.
I do.
Tell us about it, Kathy.
So I swam for Falston when we were county champions a few times. Cougar alumni in the house. I also did coach for C. Milton Wright High School, so no bias there either. But it was obviously a little bit weird when I had to put some blue on, having been in the orange all those years. But it's a great sport. Everybody's so, really integrated together, and it really is, some of them train together on club teams and just coming together for these meets, even though they're representing their individual high schools. It's just an amazing level of sportsmanship. You can see that.
So we talked about this last year, Kathy, and you were we were saying how it's hard not to be biased, but you have attachments to so many schools. So I coached at Joppatown, I coached at Edgewood, I coached at Bel Air, I coached at John Carroll, I've coached at many schools, but like you, we've done a lot of coaching on the side also, and we have kids from almost every school in the county that we've had, and showing my age more than you, now half the coaches are people I coached, or you knew swimmers wise and things like that. Any of the coaches people you coached yet?
I would say
Oh,
yes.
my two.
Your
My two.
Yes, your two kids, which makes me feel incredibly old watching them on deck coaching, but could not be prouder. And it's really a testament to the swimming community, that everybody comes back to give that support to the next generation. So it's great to see that. So many people on deck, even though they don't have kids swimming anymore, that are
Yes.
still helping out to make sure that we can have a great meet for everybody.
There's Travis now
there's
walking down the
Travis
deck to go
Harris,
sit next
Sea
to
Mountain, right?
Jamie. So I am a proud papa knowing that my kids are giving back as you and I did. And, now let's take a slight pause here where we honor our nation with the national anthem. We're going to have some special performers here. So, very nice, Kathy. I say this like a broken record for almost any telecast I do, and that is a talent that I do not have.
Likewise.
Singing.
No one's going to ask me to do that.
So thank goodness for these young, talented people that can
was
do
great.
so.
Absolutely fantastic.
So we do have Hartford Tech as our host here, and as I gave you those results, I will try to find the girls' final scores from last night. But we do have our first heat here of the boys 200-yard medley relay, and we have Edgewood in lane 1, Rising Sun in lane 2, Aberdeen in 3, Elkton in 4, Havre de Grace in 5, and the lanes go. Lane 1 is the closest one to the bottom of the camera, the film shot here. So, Kathy, tell us a little bit about what I love in this relay with the different strokes.
So we are starting with backstroke. So you really have to make sure you're strategizing on where you're going to put your swimmers, and somebody may be better in one event or another, but everybody's really has to do their job to make sure that you're coming up with the best time for your team. So even though you might be leading in backstroke, you may have a really strong breaststroker, and the medley relay is a little bit different than what you'll see in the individual medley, where they do start with backstroke, obviously, in the water, breaststroke, butterfly, and then freestyle. But really need to make sure that every swimmer is doing their part and doing their best time for their portion, because again, they may start out really strong in backstroke because you may have a great backstroker, but then you may have a strong breaststroker. As you can kind of see here, it looks like lane 4 just actually caught up there to lane 3. So really, again, important that everybody does their part to make sure that you're trying to get your team that best final time.
Well, and to that point, our next heat, Cade Snyder swimming the leadoff.
Correct.
There's
and
nobody
Cade
in this county that
Cade
can swim
is a
with
very
him.
special swimmer. Also, within the club ranks as well, one of those swimmers who's always, number 1 or right there in the top. Going to Delaware next year to swim. So definitely one of those events, though, where you will see a huge lead, but everybody's got to, again, that backstroker swimming against him has got to make sure that they're doing their best time to try to give the breaststroker and the rest of the relay a chance to come back.
Well, it's often the team with the most balance. So like last night, the Fallston girls were very balanced. And, tonight, as an example, Cade is going to get them a very good lead. There's only a couple swimmers in the county that can stay even relatively close to them. But, I'll use Sea Mountain Right boys as an example. Their middle 2 legs of Luke Bahal in the breaststroke and Alan Chan in the fly gets them back into the top 5. Another team might have a 23-second 50 freer, and the other teams might have 26-second ones. So that swimmer can come back a lot, which is what Gabriella Arasso did last night. So I think that's Aberdeen with the win there,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. So good job for Aberdeen. So in our next heat, we're going to be having Falston in lane 1, Patterson Mill in lane 2, Bel Air in lane 3, Hartford Tech in 4, Seamount Wright in 5, and North Hartford in 6. This should be a great relay.
And it looks like Bel Air's coming in with the fastest entry time.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
And they have a swimmer in Colin O'Hare, Jr., who is a distance freestyler, but he's also really good at other things. So they asked him to do the backstroke, and he's a very competitive backstroker. And again, you're going to have Kate Snyder in lane 2 here. And actually, I'm wrong. I apologize. That's what they did most of the year. They've actually switched him to anchor now. And he's so fast that even a freestyler, he's probably swimming at 22, 50 free, and they're going to see if their teammates could keep him in it, and he can close down on people. So here we go. I love this race. I will assume you did the butterfly in this.
I definitely did. I was a butterflyer and a sprint freestyler. Looks like they're getting out to a good lead though here.
Yeah, that's probably Gavin Carson, and he's outstanding swimmer. That's him. He's one of the top. He's one of those kids that's top 3 in 6 events.
Well, and that's one of the things that's interesting too about the strategy. Everybody would assume Cade's going to do backstroke, but then you change it up maybe to try to get yourself in a better position, so he can really race it coming home.
A
So
good shot.
breaststroke.
Yeah, good shot of our breaststroker there. And Bel Air is coming on strong there. And you see Luke Hall out there in lane 5 closing down a little bit. He'll be probably one of our top 4 breaststrokers in the open breaststroke.
Hartford Tech in the lead.
So timing on the relay exchanges is very, very big. You're talking about, what people don't understand is you can start your movement as you're the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th swimmer. And those of us that coach, you'll hear us do a audible groan when we see our kids watch the teammate touch. Then they think, oh, maybe I should go now. No, you want to time your move as you're seeing the other team's teammate come in.
Correct. And what the officials are looking for is that touch and then when the toe actually leaves the block. So that's what they're looking at, is it just needs to be that swimmer actually touching the wall and then any body part of the swimmer entering the pool to be left on the block. So you'll see the officials next to the blocks trying to check that out. Looks like we got a really great race here.
Yeah, it looks like lane 4, Hartford Tech might be pulling this out.
Yep.
And Bel Air 2nd. And it looks like Seamount Wright's going to come up for 3rd place all the way in lane 5. So that's them moving up a spot.
Yeah,
so.
It looks like Patterson Mill actually had Cade swimming fly. So interesting strategy there. And again, the entry times don't necessarily mean that'll be the order that the swimmers swim.
Okay, the coach faked me out last night. They said they moved him to anchor.
Good.
And I was actually.
There you go.
She was outsmarting me. That is not hard to do, Kathy. Just ask my wife. So the thing is, I didn't think they would go away from Cade in the back or the fly, but that was very good. So now we have our first heat of the 200 freestyle, and we have Xavier Bondrol from Edgewood in lane 2. We have Jack Abel from North Hartford in lane 3. We have Ben Wilson from Hartford Tech in lane 4, and we have Myori Hayes from Edgewood lane 5. I'm probably going to have Kathy maybe take every other heat from me, because I will lose my voice, Kathy, and I know that's not a good thing to say, but
definitely not. We got a long night ahead of us. So so this 200 freestyle, really interesting event. I know when I was swimming, it was more of a mid-distance event. Now it really is almost a sprint event. If you're a newer swimmer, newer to the sport, it is going to feel like a distance event. And it's really one of those where you don't want to go out too fast. And that third 50 is really critical to try to, build that and then be able to come home. So
when I
we'll see how their strategy
When
works.
I coached track and field, and then I started coaching swimming, I asked a friend it was a guy way back, Jeff DeMott and his brother Tim DeMott, that coached years ago in club.
They were my coaches.
Were they really?
Club team.
And 2 of the years I coached Bel Air and was lucky enough to win 2 championships with them, Tim said the 100 is like the 400 in track, and the 200 is like the 800. So when you watch elite track and field, the 800 runners look like they're sprinting.
Right.
But for other people, that's a distance race and it's very hard. So to that point, you get somebody like Lucy Playstead or Kate Taylor or any of the top swimmers in the county, Ellie Hansen, Catherine Whipke for the girls, they can attack most of the race. And if they don't, they're going to probably get second or third place.
Right.
But you have others. For me, this would be a marathon. So, it's equivalent to Ray Rue's doing a marathon. But the thing is, it's true because you feel the lactic acid burn,
right?
Partway through this. And I like what you said about the third 50. In most sports, in most running and swimming distances, it's the third quarter of the race that is the most psychologically difficult.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
So I think you're not quite finished, right? And it's the middle. And you're not obviously got that easy speed that you might have started out with, especially if you're a sprinter. So that third 50 really is the mental game.
It is.
And trying to make sure you're obviously, even in training, working through that pain that you're going to feel because, again, it's not quite the end.
Right.
That last 50 is easy because you're almost done. But yeah, being in that third quarter, that is the grind. And you really want to make sure that you're in a good position to be able to maybe make a move if you can. When we're watching some of these swimmers, you'll notice too that they are doing some open turns. So, a little bit different strategy. Maybe they're not as comfortable yet with the flip turns, but that's key too when you're doing the 200.
Well,
How long do you want to stay underwater?
I give these swimmers a lot of credit. These are usually in the first heat. You got some of your more inexperienced swimmers. They're trying the sport, and they're brave enough to do the tougher event.
Right.
They could be saying, Coach, I just want to do the 50 free and do it down and back.
Right.
But they're willing to do it for their team. And to your point, I'm going to do a more layman's explanation to why I think the third quarter is tougher.
Okay.
When you start, you're focused on the start. You're very focused. When you finish, you're very focused. When you get to the midway point of the race, that's when the body starts to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, you got to work through that pain.
It is. It's so easy to psychologically say, I'm going to pace it here now.
Yes.
And you
or
got
just
your
pull
coaches.
back just a little bit.
Yes, your coaches are waving frantically on the sideline for you to go, and you're thinking, Coach, my body's not cooperating.
Well, the other thing is too, you'll start to see, swimmers take more breaths that stroke. So maybe you start out breathing every 4, and then by the time they get to the third 50, they're breathing every other stroke.
And that also at times has a factor on the turns, because these swimmers often want to breathe into the turn, and us coaches are like,
absolutely
please don't
not.
do that. Breathing is overrated. You could do it in 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Just do your turn.
You don't need that breath. So I will go ahead and I guess we'll go with heat 2. So lane 1 is Joseph Forrest from the Seamount Wright Mustangs. Lane 2 is Amon Wright of Aberdeen. Lane 3, Jacob Balger from Rising Sun, I believe that is. Lane 4 is Axel Trillian from Falston Cougars. Lane 5 is Noah Hamilton from Joppatown. And lane 6 is Anthony Free from Havre Grace. Interesting mix in this heat of some freshmen, a senior. So we really have all classes represented here.
Well, and let me tell you another strategy. Not a strategy, a happenstance. So for the fans that don't know, the top 16 swimmers score from 20 for first down to 17, 16, 15, so forth, all the way down to 1. Now, each school is only allowed to have 2 people place.
Right.
So if you're a deep school, like the top 4 or 5 schools, you often have a 3rd or 4th swimmer. A team like Seamount Wright that's normally dominant is very small this year, so they have very few races, but the teams that have larger rosters, like a Hartford Tech boys, they're going to have a 3rd boy who finishes in the top 16 times. So what's ironic about it, that boy can't score, but somebody that's 20th best time might score.
Right.
Now, we talk to our swimmers all the time about swim against the clock. Because here's the thing, if you're the 6th fastest swimmer in lane 1 or 6, and the 4 people in the middle of you are way faster than you, you cannot let that psych you out.
Right.
Because the people that were in the heat before you, that are first seeds in heat 4, are not as fast, but they might move up on you.
Right.
So if you are the faster swimmer in the 3rd heat of 5, you can move into the top 16. And we saw a lot of this last night. I know a girl from Bel Air that I met last night, something Leeson, and she was a very nice girl, and she came over and talked to me with another girl, Lillian Dowd, who I taught swim lessons to, and she came over to me very nicely afterwards, and she said, I moved up 4 spots.
That's amazing.
And she was so happy because she didn't just get a best time, but she helped her team.
Right. Well, this is an interesting strategy here. I know with this race, it looks like Axel in lane 4 from Falston went out pretty quick, and then the strategy from the other swimmer who is in lane 3, Jacob from Rising Sun, he went out a little bit more pace and has pulled ahead as we're going into this last 50 here.
Yes. Well, and here's another thing, Kathy, and you can explain this a little better. You have some swimmers that get so much pull out of each stroke. You have people that do double quick, kick, 4 kick, 6 kick, beat, all kinds of different things. Others aren't kicking wide enough. They look like they're shivering with their legs instead of like really getting some power. You have some that look like they're not even swimming with their arm pulls and they're zooming through the water,
right,
so they can get they get a lot more out of it. So you'll see, even in the 200, you'll see somebody that's doing 30 strokes per length, and you'll see somebody that's doing 20.
Right, right. Really, from the coaching standpoint, you want to do the least amount of strokes possible, obviously, for your distance per stroke to be as efficient as possible. So it looks like lane 3 pulled out the win for this heat.
Jacob Bauer, yeah. So in heat 3, we have Cole Huss from Elkton in lane 1. We have Ethan Wenger from Falston in lane 2. We have Joshua Whipke from Hartford Tech in 3. We have Angel Ruiz Rivera in lane 4 from Aberdeen. We have Max Cullison from Hartford Tech in lane 5. We have Matthew Walker from C. Milton Wright in lane 6. Now, I will tell you, Joshua Whipke is Catherine Whipke's brother, and he chose to go to Hartford Tech, so we have siblings swimming for 2 different teams. You get that more these days.
Yes,
with the
with all
magnet
the magnet
schools and everything.
programs.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like lane 2 was not available this evening.
Oh,
so
okay.
It looks like that's an empty lane. So that was interesting, as you saw that swimmer push off the wall on their back and then turned over. That is actually something that was, in the IM, Ryan Lochte rule, where he was DQ'd for that. You can do that in freestyle. They did have since changed that rule even on the IM, but definitely something the officials are looking at.
You see something happening here, folks, that I always think is interesting. You have our lane 5 swimmer, Max Cullison from Hartford Tech, trying to steal the race from 2 people seated higher than him. We had a couple girls last night who dropped as many as 10 seconds. Now, that speaks of a couple things. They've only tried it a couple times, and when the coaches are trying to figure out the lineup, they're like, we don't need a third 50 freer. We need a second 200 freer.
Right.
And go out there and try it. And if they're not as experienced of it, they don't know what their ability is yet.
Correct.
I had a couple kids this year from C. Milton Wright, which my daughter and son, Jamie and Travis Ruse, coach, to kids on other teams that I know, and they got done their 200 IM, 200 free or 500. They went, I sprinted the last 100. And I said, what's that mean?
Right, you had more in the tank to start with.
Yes. So
you do have to really learn how to swim this event and the 500 specifically, because again, if you're inexperienced with it or you're trying this for the first time, you don't want to go out too fast because you have 8 laps to do. So.
Well, and this is important because I'll talk more about this later during the breaks and stuff, but Hartford Tech boys and the Bel Air boys are probably the 2 boys teams battling it out for the boys championship. C. Milton Wright is very strong, but they're a very small team. Pattersonville is very good too, as well as some other schools, but this is their second swimmer here in lane 3. This is their second ranked entry, if I'm seeing it correctly. So if he moves up and gets a great time here, he might move past 2 or 3 people's time.
And it looks
in
like
the
it was
next
a 2:18.
Yes, so he just dropped 12 seconds, and that is Joshua Whipke.
Right, and especially, at the end of the season, you're in a much different spot training-wise. So heat 4 is about to get on the block, so I will announce those names. Lane 1 is going to be Dylan Paletti from Patterson Mill. Lane 2, Aiden Knapp from Hartford Tech. Lane 3, Shane Stradbig, I believe that is, from Haverty Grace. Lane 4, Jackson Perrault from Edgewood Rams. Lane 5, Braylon Young from the Seamount Wright Mustangs. And Lane 6, Logan Enfield of Perryville High School.
So we know the Knapp family, and I've been doing lessons for Aiden since he was younger. Mom and Dad, great family, would bring him to me at the college for classes, and it shows you that people that can go to the school. So Jamie and Travis were like hoping he'd be at Seamount Wright.
Right.
And now he's swimming against him at Harvard Tech. And we're like, oh man. But
I remember those days well.
Yes.
I believe, as dominant as Seamount Wright was back when I was coaching there, that we would have been even more dominant had we had everybody,
Yes.
not going to magnet programs.
Yes.
I always was like, that's great for your academics, but I'm sad for the swimming.
Well, we just saw our good friend, mutual friend, Rich Young, and he's always doing the sound, I think, and other stuff here for tonight. So that was the case with all of their kids. And but to that point of the spirit of things, Kathy, we cheered for them still.
Absolutely.
I had one year in the 200 free where you'll know a lot of these names. Katerina Lomas lived right on the border. She went to Paris Mill.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Jan Perry went to North Hartford, outstanding swimmer. And then Kelly Blair went to Seamount Wright. And 3 terrific swimmers. So when they would swim against each other in the 200 freestyle, which they often did, I'd be sitting there going, and then the moms would go, who you rooting for, Ray?
Right.
And I'm like, all of them, all 3 of them.
Well, it looks like Jackson Perrault is having a really great swim.
Well, this is an example.
Edgewood.
He might move up. Let's see his time and see where he goes for the
when we were talking
next
about
heat.
the kick, you can see a really great 6-feet kick for the most part. As
Right.
He's making his way down the pool. Looks like he's got another 70. He's at the 75 left. So when he does this next flip turn, he'll have a 50 to go. He's doing a phenomenal job here. Well, we were talking about that 50. He is breathing every stroke. So maybe on the way back, we'll see a little bit different breathing pattern here.
He does seem to be
There we
slowing
go.
down,
He,
so you wonder if the proverbial piano is jumping on his back here. But it's interesting because swimming is more psychological than people realize.
100%.
So if you get in people's heads and you go out and attack it, sometimes they'll say, what
give
is
up.
this person doing? They can't do that base. And
Right.
they'll say, we'll catch them later. And then all of a sudden, like
They're
this
gone.
race,
Right.
they're not catching them.
Not enough time to catch up. He's got
Yeah.
a significant lead. Hopefully this will be a good time for him. Maybe he saw the heat before and the times they were putting up. Need to make sure you can do everything you can. Looks like that might be a 2:11. Hard to see. So we are in
Right.
we are not on the pool deck. We are in another room watching this on a monitor. So
We will get the results and we will update you at Briggs, folks. We have Heat 5, the fastest heat. We have Harry Playstead, younger brother of Lucy Playstead from Falston, Lane 1. We have Bo Camerzelt from Elkton, very strong swimmer. We have Michael O'Leary from North Hartford, probably him and Cade Snyder are the top 2 swimmers in the county. We have Garrett White from Bel Air in lane 4. We have Luke Ullman, freshman from Falston again in lane 5. And we have Bailey Hetzer. So it'd be interesting to see how that time holds up.
it looks like most of these swimmers' entry times are, we have one 2:15, but a couple under 2 minutes. So Michael O'Leary's time on 1:53, definitely the fastest entry time. So we'll see where he ends up.
Michael O'Leary could swim the IM and win it. He could swim the 100 free and possibly win it. He could swim this 200 free. He did a 500 free this year because the coach just put him in it. All he did was swim the fastest time in the county at 5 minutes.
Right. So he had lots of options this year, what he
Yes.
wanted to try to go out for. Now he is getting a little bit of a race, at least initially in this first 100 from lane 5,
Yeah.
which is Luke Ullman, a freshman. So going out after it here. The senior, Mike O'Leary, here he comes in for the 100 mark. So we're halfway.
And he also does a 103 or 104 breaststroke.
Awesome.
He's one of those kids that kind
Can
of
really swim
ticks
everything.
off the other swimmers. So
Yep.
why do you have to be good at everything, you know?
We don't know what you're going to swim.
Well, and on a smaller team like North Hartford, that gives them the flexibility to be able to say, whatever we think you have the best chance in is what you're going to swim in. Here he is, really pouring it on strong here.
Last 50 coming up. So He definitely pulled away a little bit from lane 5.
Good battle between 5
really
and
took
4.
it out. Yeah, I was going to say, here comes lane 4 coming back.
That's Garrett White. Garrett's got a little bit more experience. You got a senior swimming against a freshman. Look how important those walls are.
Oh, no, for sure. And definitely when it's your senior year and it's probably your last race, you know, representing at these championships, you want to make sure you get a good swim in. Great time. Looks like that was a 1:51. Great swim. Really good finish by lane 4 as well. Lane 5, he had a really good time for him.
You will see what looks like a big gap between the middle, the top few, and then the 5th or 6th. Those 5th or 6th swimmers are still swimming really fast times.
Absolutely.
And they would be winning the other heats, but it just shows you that, you know, those top couple in each race are just a different breed.
Correct.
They're set apart from everybody else. So here we have our first heat of the 200 IM, and we have 3 heats. So this heat has lane 2, Vincenzo DeSantis from Edgewood. Lane 3, Con Sarin from Edgewood. We have Grayson Whaley from North Hartford. And we have Gavin Angelini from Hartford Tech. And Kathy, I said the medley is my favorite relay because of the 4 strokes. I feel the same thing about the IM. Now, a lot of people have...
That's only if you're a good breaststroker.
Well, I have seen a few people that can do a good IM that aren't a great breaststroker, but you have to attack it. So, as you know, my daughter Jamie, who you coached and she loved you to death, is not a breaststroker. But she knew she had to attack the butterfly and backstroke.
I believe we said go out and hang on.
Yes. So she looked like she was going to lap the field after the first 2 strokes. She was a top swimmer in the county and did very well at states for you in the back and fly. But what we made her better at, and the reason I use her as an example, is how many times have we told all of our swimmers, work on your weakness?
Correct.
So we made her breaststroke go from very not very good to be nice to adequately decent.
Correct.
And then she was able to hold on to the freestyle. She didn't do the IM all the time because of that, but you're going to see that tonight. You're going to see these people look like they have a quarter of a pool lead, and then here comes that next stroke.
Right.
And they
right.
just come pouring on.
And it's really rare to see, you know, a swimmer like we were just talking about, Michael O'Leary, who obviously is good in every stroke.
Right.
But to really have that balance, just because of how you train too. Of course, one stroke is probably going to be better than another, and that. Again, the third 50 is where the breaststroke is here, that breaststroke leg. And as we were talking about those 200s, that's really where you want to make a move. So if you have a great breaststroke, you're normally going to have a pretty good solid IM. So really good. You know, looks like we're doing a really nice leg here, breaststroke. We do have a DQ, so you see the official raising their hand, and they'll be taking some notes. Not sure exactly what lane that looks like that's on, but potentially, you know, what they're looking for in breaststroke kick specifically is making sure that those legs are turned out and you're actually getting some separation and there's no downward kick. So anything that looks like butterfly or freestyle is going to be a DQ for those officials. Also, breaststroke can only do 1 fly kick in the pull-out phase, so we'll keep an eye on that in these next couple events. But here they go into the freestyle lane 3, turning for his final 50.
So from the start to the beginning, folks, when you dive in the IM, you're allowed to dolphin kick underwater for a long time. And you usually have to come up by the 15-yard mark, and you will see people who could go the length of the pool on their first entry, even backstrokers. So they have to come up right before the 15-yard mark. There's a decision, and I even had a talk with a swimmer the other day. How long do you streamline under the water and dolphin kick or whatever you're doing before you come up? It's the point of you're slowing down too much.
The deceleration.
Yes, and then you need to get going. So good swim there by lane 3.
Yeah, and you can see those red markers on the lane lines, which will designate where they have to come up. So the opposite side of the pool for each one. So heat number 2 coming up. So we will have in lane 1, Noah Birch of the Cougars. In lane 2, Zach Patton, also of the Falston Cougars. Lane 3, Ian Morrell of Bel Air. Lane 4, Tyler Tran of the Sea Mountain Wright Mustangs. Lane 5, Ethan Fulmer of Bel Air. And lane 6, Jason Moses of Aberdeen.
So what I'm going to also add here, folks, as we're going along, we like to we'd like to educate the fans here a little bit. I have a lot of friends and family members who have swimming, and granddad comes up and says, I cheer for my grandchild, but I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
So when I watch this on TV, please explain to me what they're supposed to be doing. So, for example, in this butterfly, you are required to touch both walls with 2 hands
Right.
At the same time. So that's another DQable offense. Now, when they go to the butterfly to the backstroke, they can go straight back to their back, and on the backstroke turn, they're allowed to turn to their stomach, do 1 freestyle pull before they flip, and come off on their back. We have had the rare person who has forgotten they're swimming a 200 IM instead of a 100 IM and messed up on a turn. Then when they do the breaststroke, folks, it's the same thing. When they dive in the water, well, not diving in the water, at the walls, they have to touch with 2 hands again. You are allowed, when you go off the walls, to do what's called a pull out, where you're allowed. You explain the pull out for us, Kathy.
So the pull out is actually, so you can basically push off in your streamline. There's no kick allowed unless you're doing 1 dolphin kick. It really depends on the swimmer when they want to do that dolphin kick. You
Right.
could do the dolphin kick during the streamline or when you pull down. So you have 1 pull, 1 kick, and then you actually have to come up and break the surface. So, and again, there's 1 dolphin kick that can be initiated during that phase. Now, this is an interesting turn here where you will see at times a lot of disqualifications because they can't go past 90 degrees, turning from backstroke to breaststroke. So you'll see potentially in the next heat some different decisions on those turns. That's really been something that's kind of evolved. You'll see kids who will do a bucket turn, so from backstroke to breaststroke, flipping straight backwards, which is called a bucket. And the more advanced swimmers will be doing the crossover turn. But right there, you see the breaststroke pull out, that 1 pull, 1 kick, and then they come up. Want to try to get as much as you can out of that breaststroke pull out. Because that's really, when you come up and you start swimming, you're creating drag. So staying underwater as long as possible is good.
The difference between lane 3 and 4 in technique in that breaststroke is interesting. Tyler Tran has a much faster turnover. The young man in lane 3, Ian Merrill, was taking longer, more powerful strokes, but they were still yet pretty even. The distance between them going in from the back and breaststroke was very close. So we have a really good battle happening here between Tyler Tran, lane 4, and Ethan Fulmer. So
it looks like Belair's is going to win this heat.
So I'm hoping we can get a glimpse of the clock here. Looks like he's going to get a best time. And looks like lane 5 pulling out second. And Tyler Tran pulling out third. Good swim.
All right, and great swim in lane 2. Good finish there.
We also were missing a swimmer in that heat. If I didn't see them, I thought lane 6 was empty.
No, I think they're
was
right
he there?
No, there he is. Yep.
Okay, my bad. The camera didn't quite. Well, that's there he is. Yep. So it's funny. So lane 6, Jason Moses, him and his brother Colin took some lessons from me from being little boys, and their mother is here. I saw her on the deck, and it's just one of those swim moms you wish you had a bunch of.
Yes.
Just always positive, the one that's helping at every summer swim meet, and so on. So now we have our fastest heat, and this should be good, folks. We have Andrew Morgan from Bel Air in lane 1. We have Tanner Carson from Hartford Tech in lane 2. Tyson Book from Falls in lane 3 is our number 1 seed. We have Sky Camershelp from Bow Manor in lane 4, and we have Evan Goodell in lane 5 from Hartford Tech. We have Mason Tran from Seaman Wright. You have a big disparity here between the first seed time, Kathy, and the rest. So it'd be interesting to see if any of them can challenge the freshmen.
Well, it always goes to the question of when did they swim this and how, how long ago, because it, looks like here lane 4, as we were talking about earlier, maybe he's a pretty decent flyer. In your top seed in lane 3,
he's a
little bit
backstroker
behind. So now he's starting to catch up.
And he is a backstroker. I can tell you that.
There we go.
Yes, you could
So
tell
he's
just
really
by his streamline.
Yes.
He got a half a body length more. He came up with his arms perfectly.
Nice and high in the water.
Not to diss the other swimmers because they're outstanding, but the technicals in the IM might matter more than almost any event.
No, that's a absolute necessity when you're swimming a
4
IM.
strokes, different turns.
I mean, look how much further ahead he got there in the
Yeah.
IM. So we saw that turn. That was somewhat of a crossover-ish turn, but not really underwater. But definitely, it looked like that was really effective for him. Looks like a really good breaststroker as well.
He gets some height there.
Yeah. Nice and high, but always forward. So breaststroke, the trick to breaststroke is figuring out what you need to do to make sure you're always moving forward. It looks like a lot of pull there, but he's got a really great kick behind it. So not a lot of drag, and he's really taken charge of this race.
So we have a pretty good battle in lane 5 and 6 over there. So
lane 2 coming up too.
Yeah. Lane 4 looks like a solid second place. 1, 2 looks like it should be able to hold on. 3, 4, 5 could be a battle, but let's see who the freestylers are. So he is holding true to form for his seed. And
really nice turn there.
He's only a freshman. He is going to be so strong by his senior year. That's amazing.
Great swim. Looks like that was a good time for him too. Looks like a 2-second drop. Here comes lane 4 coming in. I'm going to think that's a good time for them as well. So
we got lane 1 coming in here and still in 5th place from lane 6. That showed that difference between strokes.
Right.
He's a freestyler.
Well, here we go with the 50s. So we're going to have to be quick on this because this is the splash and dash event. I'll go with heat 1. So in lane 1 is going to be Damian Lipinski-Palmer of Aberdeen. Lane 2, Joseph Robles of the Edgewood Rams. Lane 3, Maxton Fulmer from Bel Air. Lane 4, Jack Chilcott of the Falston Cougars. Lane 5, Roman Davis from Haverty Grace Warriors. Lane 6, I believe that's Missouri Hayes of Edgewood Rams.
And this is where we say the technicals, it's start and turn.
Correct.
And we have to tell some of our swimmers,
Great
especially the girls, you don't have to swim so pretty. Pound
Just
that
go.
water, you
Just
know.
go. Just
I mean,
go.
we don't want you spinning your wheels and not pulling water, but we want you to go. Lane 2 seems to be taking that to heart. And
they don't call it the splash and dash for nothing, right?
Looks like we have lane 6 up there, maybe
lane
still
6
in this
and the
race.
outside smoke going on over there.
I think there was a good turn involved with that comeback there,
And
but
lane 2 coming up. This is a really interesting heat. They're
I
definitely spread
think he's
apart.
going to get it.
Yeah, lane 2.
Look what you have there. You have lane 6 caught up a lot in the
Great
turn.
swim.
And then that was Missouri Hayes, but then Aberdeen's young man Damian Lipinski-Palmer. No, I'm sorry, lane 2 it was. It came back, right? So it was teammate outfall,
yeah,
teammate
they must have
there.
been training together. Sometimes that happens.
So
Got
next
heat 2 coming
heat,
up?
we have Ben Wilson from Harvard Tech in lane 1, Holden Coe from Perryville in lane 2. We have Mason Kokosinski from Joppatown in lane 3. We have Austin Gray, Haverty Grace. Lane 4, Bobby Barbaras, Patterson Mill. And then we have Alec Fox, and I think that's Perryville. So I'm just deciphering in my initials here. The PHS is just going to be Perryville High School, and the other one is Patterson Mill. Okay.
Good turn. Definitely taking it out.
You see how much some people get on the walls on their the streamline, folks. When we say talk about walls, a really good, powerful streamline and then go into your sprint is important. So I think we're getting another lane 2 victory here.
Yeah, I think lane 2 did get it. Just out-touched lane 4. All right, and we have heat 3 coming up. So in lane 1 is going to be Jacob Gestel of North Hartford. Lane 2, Cooper Hadley of Elkton. Lane 3, Cameron Bunk of Rising Sun. Lane 4, Caden Hathaway of Elkton. Lane 5, Cohen Schroeder of, I believe that's Rising Sun. And lane 6, Samuel Chadwick of Haverty Grace. So this is an interesting heat with a lot of the Cecil County public school swimmers.
So,
I'm so old, I remember when we didn't have Cecil County.
Yes,
in
this
event.
was called the Hartford County Championships, then it's now called the UCBACs, and it's been a great addition. For those of you that don't know, in all of the team sports, they have a Susquehanna and a Chesapeake division, and the top 7 or 8 will be in one, and another 7 or 8 will be in the other. And it's like a Division 1, Division 2 concept. In swimming, we don't have that. We're all together. In track and field, they have Susquehanna Chesapeake
Great
difference,
swim out of Lane
but
3.
not here. We have all 14 schools represented. So we finally had a middle lane win there, Kathy.
There we go.
So I think we're up to
Heat
lane 4. Heat 4, I mean. In lane 1, we have Evan Michalik from Elkton. Lane 2, we have Evan Harris from Aberdeen. Lane 3, we have Braden Leeson from Bel Air. Lane 4, we have Alex Park from Aberdeen. Lane 5, John Sprouse, who I told is an Eagle Scout from Elkton.
Wow.
I know, and I couldn't have passed one of those tests for earning an Eagle Scout, Kathy. And we have Ian Nodine from Falston. And I will do a quick shout out here. Our mutual friend just walked by a little while ago and waved to us. Mike Harris, his dad, I coached.
Wow.
And he was the athletic director at Choptown. He's a teacher, wonderful guy, and his wife is Erica Harris, and she is the C. Milton Wright principal. Wonderful people, and Evan used to do my classes too. And is that him stealing the race?
Lane 4.
Let's see. Nope, it was Alex Park.
Yep, here comes Heat 5. So lane 1, you have Noah Dube of the Cougars. Lane 2, Kieran Abbey of Rising Sun. Lane 3, Brandon Nguyen of Hartford Tech. Lane 4, Michael DeJesus of North Hartford. Lane 5, Alex Clement from Hartford Tech. And lane 6, Merrick Olek of Aberdeen.
So as the heats get faster, they do, the times get tighter.
Right.
So you're going to notice a difference between a 26.52 and a 26.97.
Well, that's the amazing thing about swimmers is, that dedication that it takes to just drop a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
That 1/10 of a second really can make a difference between you getting, second place or even between 5th and 6th. So it looks like lane 5 is really coming out. That's Alex Clement of
yes.
Hartford Tech. Lane 2, that was coming on strong now. That's a senior, Kieran Abbey from Rising Sun. Great race. Looks like that did go to lane 5.
Heat 6.
So Heat 6, we have Matthew Kim from Patterson Mill in lane 1, Theo Kidwell, Falston, lane 2, James Cassidy, North Hartford, lane 3, Trevor Downs, C. Milton Wright, lane 4, Ryan Hughes, Patterson Mill, lane 5, and Kyle DiFilippo from North Hartford. Shout out to James Cassidy. His father, Dennis, is on our crew here for Hartford TV, helping us with this telecast.
Awesome. You know who he's rooting for tonight.
Sorry, Dennis, you can't make his lane faster. Just hope for the best here.
Get a good camera angle. It might look a little faster. You never know.
Oh, he's
really
definitely
good swim. Looks like a great 6B kick going into the wall there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 50 free, when we were talking about breathing earlier, some of the greatest swimmers, it's really a no breath. You're going to see, you'd like to see at least maybe 2 on the way down and maybe 2 on the way back. And here comes Heat 7.
So I think that was Trevor Downs stole that race.
Downs.
Yeah.
All right. Heat 7, lane 1, we have Kenny Chen of Bel Air. Lane 2, Alan Chan of the C. Milton Wright Mustangs. Lane 3, Rory Jenkins from Hartford Tech, the top seed. Lane 4, Logan Weaver of Bel Air. Lane 5, Benjamin Schultz of Rising Sun. And lane 6, Joey Sauer of Patterson Mill.
Go Alan.
Great start.
So I'm rooting here a little bit. We have a senior from C. Milton Wright. I'll explain this concept after the race is over. But we have Rory Jenkins. Looks like he took it out, but we might have
lane 2
lane
really
2
coming on strong.
And
that's Alan Chan. Oh, at the finish, it looks like it was 3.
I'm not sure what it says there. So we will have
Can we tell by the reaction?
we will have all results for you in a second. But I'm going to give you some results. And by the way, James Cassidy did get second place in his heat, so that was a great swim. And we are staying fairly true to the middle lane so far. But I'm going to do some updates here for you folks because we're going to be taking some, we're going to be doing some awards now. So they will be taking a break in the poll, but we will be giving results here. So, Kathy, here's what I was going to say something about a little bit. Alan Chan is a great butterflyer and a backstroker. C. Milton Wright coaches asked him to do the 50 free for the team.
Right.
You know, we've been through that a lot as coaches to do that. Last night, Lily Ullman swam the butterfly, and I think she got second place, and she's a very good butterfly, but she's a freestyle sprinter
Right.
and distance, and she's good 50 to 200. So I asked her coaches today, I said, am I right in saying that that was sort of a sacrifice for her for the team? She said, yes. So you see these kids that if their coaches ask them, can you do this for the team? Now, a lot of times for your regional state lineup, you'll do it more for the individual. If you have team success, great.
Right.
But you're trying to qualify as many people as you can. Folks that don't know, this meet has nothing to do with regional entries. This is the UCPAT Championships. One of my favorites, Karen Gonzalez, is walking by right now, and she's a coach for Joppatown, and she cheers for everybody, and we'll see her on the deck a little bit later. But I love to see these kids that are willing to do that.
Right. I mean, high school swimming is really, truly all about the team effort, which is really great leading up into college as well, because it's not always going to be about you swimming your best race.
Yep.
It's going to be where do you fit within the team concept for that year to try to score as many points as possible for the team. So to your point, if you maybe could get third in, the 50 free, but you may have been able to get, say you could win an event, but they don't have another swimmer there. You want to make sure that you're strategizing enough to make sure that you're getting the full points for the team, depending upon who you have that year, because you could have some other swimmers who might be able to get third and fourth, where that first place isn't going to mean as much, or we can move you over to another event where you're going to score more points again for the team.
Well, and the thing is, sometimes you ask kids to do to other events because other swimmers are only good at these 2 or 3 events, and they can score for you, and you know that. So Ellie Hansen is another example of that. She swam the 100 breaststroke last year, and she got second last night. Ellie could have swam the 200 free. She could have swam the 200 AM. She could have swam the 50 free and had a chance, but she did that for the team, and that's great. So recapping some of the events as they're getting ready to approach the podium is, I'm going to tell you, for the boys 200 medley relay, Hartford Tech won with a time of 1:45.69, and the thing is, their swimmers were Gavin Carson in the backstroke, Tanner Carson, his brother, in the breaststroke, Marco Abrasacis in the butterfly, and Rory Jenkins in the freestyle. Bel Air was a very close second with Colin O'Hare, Garrett White, and Logan Weaver and Kenny Chen. C. Milton Wright was third with Mason Tran, Luke Pahala, Alan Chan, and Trevor Downs. And they are getting ready to do the podium for that now as you're seeing those swimmers step up. I will say Patterson Mill was 4th, Elkton 5th, and Aberdeen 6th. So we will be seeing Debbie Basler, our county supervisor for sports and physical education. She's been in the job for maybe close to 5 to 10 years now?
I would say at least 5.
Yes.
I know she's been everywhere today, because I talked to her earlier today, and she was at the Sports for Life event at Forest Hill for bowling, and now she's here. So she has been all over the place to really support these athletes. She does a phenomenal job with her work for Hartford County Public Schools to really make sure that the athletics is as top-notch as it can be.
Yeah, I knew Kathy all the way back when she was a physical education teacher at Edgewood High School, and she was an outstanding volleyball coach, also a volleyball player, because when they did the Edgewood Area Schools volleyball tournament for charity, I probably had her spike in my face a half a dozen times.
Oh, goodness.
And I don't want to remember that. I'm like,
that doesn't surprise me.
So this is a nice shot of the medley relay. A lot of these boys are friends. I mean, on the left side of the field, view here, you have Luke Pahala, and in the Bel Air stand for second place. In the front, you have Colin and O'Hare, and they're like really good friends.
Right.
And they swim against each other in some really tight races. And last night, Tanner Carson was one of the announcers, up air Hammond, with his brother, I think. So he was announcing the events last night for me, so we were having a little fun at the table there, goofing around. Seemed like a very nice young man. He was ragging on Rory Jenkins, his teammate, who was helping him, and saying, yeah, you need to work on your turns. Well, Rory run the 50 free today.
Right,
so
there
apparently
you go.
it was good enough.
Something works.
So in the 200 freestyle, which is coming up right now, we have first place. We have Michael O'Leary from North Hartford with a 151.73, dropped almost 2 seconds off his seed time. We have Garrett White from Bel Air, second place with a 154, and we have Luke Allman from Falston in third place with a 155. Some people that aren't on the screen here, we have Bo Camerzelt, fourth place, Harry Playstead, fifth place, Jackson Peralt, sixth place. So
Great
very
swims,
good
lots
swim.
of time drops. If you look at what the seed times were compared to those finals times, that was a really fast 200 free.
So we have the boys 200 IM coming up, and I think I said they gave me two different copies. I'm like looking at the same event. So boys 200 IM, our freshman Tyson Book was our champion. Came in with a seed time of 2:12.47. He did a 2:10.85. But I will say, Sky Kammerzelt's brother of Bo swim at two different schools. And it's that magnet school thing and technical school thing. He went from a 2:20 down to a 2:16, so good swim for him. Tanner Carson is our third place swimmer, dropped over a second to get a 2:20.37. And not on the screen, but fourth was Evan Goodell from Hartford Tech. Fifth was Andrew Morgan from Bel Air. And sixth was Mason Tran from C. Milton Wright. And they looked like they all dropped 2 seconds.
That's great.
So
you can see those Hartford Tech boys with their third and fourth place finish. I know when you train together, sometimes you will swim around the same time. I know I've even had swimmers who have tied at times when you train together each and every day, and that's the person you're racing. When it comes down to that muscle memory during the meets, sometimes, you know, they're very, very close because you've been working, you know, so hard all year.
So here's our 53. And Rory Jenkins just had a comeback at the end there and edged out Alan Chan. Rory Jenkins first with a 23.38. Alan Chan second from C. Milton Wright.
It's a great swim for Alan.
With a 23.43. And Kenny Chen from Bel Air coming in at a 24.23. In fifth place, we have Logan Weaver with a 24.30. And Logan Weaver, from what I heard, is the cross-country champion for the county.
Wow.
Yes. Benjamin Schultz from Rising Sun was fifth with a 24.36, and Joseph Sauer from Patterson Mill was sixth with a 24.71. A quick shout out as an example of things. Trevor Downs did the 200 and 500 last year for C. Milton Wright. He was asked to do the 50 and 100 this year because they were lacking sprint freestylers, and he comes in and gets a sixth place with a 24.77. He was swimming 26 seconds earlier in the season.
All right, fantastic.
So that's the retraining of the mind and the body. He was used to distance strokes, distance.
It's a big difference.
Kick, and the coaches had to say, Trevor, this is distant. I mean, different. Attack this. Attack. So he'll be happy with that. After those events 7, 53, our team scores are as follows. I'll go from sixth place up. We have Patterson Mill with 55 points, North Hartford with 58, and we have Falston with 91, C. Milton Wright with 92, Hartford Tech 115, Bel Air Bobcats 120. So very
close,
good.
Very close.
Well, you and I have coached long enough that I would tell you anything can happen.
Correct. We're at the midway point here, so
yes,
a lot can happen from here on out in those relays. You know, counting for double is definitely, you know, really sometimes it comes down to that.
Well, we've seen, I hate to jinx this, but we've seen disqualifications affect meets. We've seen one team not swimming up to par that day and not getting a lot of best times. We've seen other teams, I used to say, swimming out of your skin. And it's just like, you know, wow, we had 18 entries and 16 of them got best times and moved up. So I'm going to go some coach shout outs here, Kathy. I always say, we'll talk about the athletes in a minute, but coaching any sport is a real sacrifice. You're not coaching a high school sport for the money. You're coaching it because you love working with the kids. in some cases, your community's asked you, or your principal's asked you, or your AD. So I'll start here. Edgewood High School, Tiffany Typal, been coaching for a while, and she does a great job. And she is assisted by Charlie Masanti and Emily Lohr. And her team's captains are Catherine Whipke, and I have Vivi Jamie. I don't know what that's. Vivi and Jamie. So Rising Sun, Craig Mara, and this is his 7th year. Elkton Pat Klein is his 8th year. His captains are John Sprouse. No, I said John Sprouse was the Eagle Scout. I want to do a shout out for that. Captains are Mara Matei and Evan Michalik. Perryville is coached by Bob Enfield. Is his 1st year, and his captain is his son, Logan Enfield.
Wow.
Bow Manor, I do not have the coach. I will try to find that. Our other teams, we have Bel Air, coached by Galen Ziegler. I think it's his 5th year. His 1st year, they won the girls or boys regional and county championship. Then his assistants are Nicole Muzzy, who's been doing this for a while. She's taken some breaks and come back and forth. Luke, I'm going to try to say that name, Kolachinsky, as the other assistant. And then the other head coach is Matt Pilazanskis. C. Milton Wright is coached by, who was that again?
I heard it was Jamie and Travis.
Oh, Jamie and
Aruz.
Travis Ruse. I've heard of them, yes. And then somebody that we also know, Sarah Cowan, came out to be assistant coach. And the athletic director, Caitlin Larimore, is one of our assistants and helps us with all of our administrivia that nobody wants to do.
Right.
So captains are Morgan Wood, Sierra Stamper, Ellie Hansen, Trevor Downs, and Alan Chan. So I will get... let me see.
Maybe get a couple more in there.
Let me see. Harvard Tech, Joe Peters, meet host. The captains are Isabella Stoughton, Alex Hall, Rory Jenkins, and Gavin Carson. Okay, why don't you call this first
We
heat?
have the boys 100 fly, so heat 1. In lane 1, you have Noah Birch of Falston Cougars. Lane 2, Ian Nodine of the Falston Cougars. Lane 3, Jackson Peralt of Edgewood Rams. Lane 4, Braden Leeson of Bel Air Bobcats. Lane 5, Joshua Whipke of Hartford Tech. And lane 6, Vincenzo DeSantis of Edgewood Rams.
So, Kathy, you don't know a whole lot about this event, do you?
No, this may or may not have been my specialty event. So 100 fly definitely holds a special place in my heart, especially for this type of championship meet. I remember these days fondly. But
Kathy was fierce, people. She was fierce. You
that's
talk
what
about,
I heard.
You talk about game face. She had that game face. Opponents did not want to look her in the eye before a race because you were so focused. I wish my athletes were that focused.
I think that I was told once or twice that I might have been a little intense. Maybe something that people still tell me today, but
you were friendly after the race
correct.
was over.
Well, as I tell my daughter who also swims, when you put goggles on, no one is your friend, and you need to just go. You do kind of take on an alter ego sometimes when you put those goggles on in the pool. Even when I'm lap swimming today, I'm not going to tell you, Ray, that if somebody doesn't push off the wall at the same time as me, that it's not a race. Kind of when you have that competitive passion for a sport, it definitely comes out. But really great 100 fly it looks like we have going on here.
Like lane 4.
It is definitely right here where you start to feel it. Those last couple of strokes are always tough no matter how hard you train.
You wish you can finish perfectly in time to the wall, because tell us how the awkwardness is on the decision when you're...
should you take that extra stroke or should you finish on a short stroke? You think about even like the Michael Phelps infamous race with Kavik. Really taking that extra stroke sometimes can cost you because you're obviously doing another, you're taking another stroke, which is going to take time. Or should you try to glide in, trying to really finish perfectly? That's where, during training, you should really try to focus on how many strokes does it take you and try to do that perfect. I know when it go to heat 2.
Yes, so heat 2 here, and by the way, we only have 3 heats, so these are very important. Alex Guerrera from Patterson Mill in lane 1, swimming against Michael Pape, somebody we both know, the Pape family, wonderful family, in lane 2. Joseph Sauer, another family we know, in lane 3. It's a Patterson Mill race on that side of the pool there, Kathy.
Yes.
We have Justin, is that Priest? From Haverty Grace in lane 4, Braylon Young from Seamount Wright in lane 5. We have Avery Adams from Falston in lane 6. And other than our first seed and second seed, the outside two on both sides are very close in time, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, interesting. All the Patterson Mill lanes 1 through
Yes.
3, and it looks like Joey Sauer is taking it out. I know, seen Michael Pape. I want to call him Mikey Pape because that's how I know him as growing up, and he's been having a phenomenal year as well. Great to see him swim in some fly. And Joey Sauer is definitely taking it out, it looks like, on the field.
Well, Joe has a lot of potential, and you might see him sneak up and grab a spot or two from the fast heat
Right.
if they don't watch out.
Sometimes it is, when you're swimming out there and you're in that middle heat or middle lane, that even if you're in the fastest heat, you do tend to have a really good swim because you're out in front. You have that nice clean water. And it looks like he did drop a little bit of time there.
Look at Braylon Young coming on lane 2 late. He was in 6th place, and he might pull up to 3rd place in that heat.
Right.
So you
Definitely
do have
tell he was working, and looks like he's got a smile there at the end, but always good to see a red face for sure. It means that they're definitely put everything into it. So we're in for a special treat here with county record holder Cade Snyder coming up.
Yeah, so here we have Christian Lazuski and Falston in lane 1. We have Marco Abrazaces in lane 2 from Harvard Tech. We have Cade Snyder, lane 3 from Paris Mill. We have Alan Chan from Seamount Wright in lane 2. We have Bo Camerzelt in lane 5 from Elkton, and we have Kenny Chen from Bel Air. Let's see what Cade can do with his own record of 29.17.
Right, 49.
49.
Yep.
You should see a good race between lane 4 and 2 as well. So that'll be interesting to see how Alan Chan and Marco do for 2nd and 3rd place.
Right.
Alan Chan finishing good timing on that wall. One thing I like about these top butterflyers is how quick they're off the wall.
Absolutely. Got to get in and get out.
I won't say the name, but
no rest period.
A girl that we coached, she did the look at the other swimmer turn at the 50.
Definitely.
And I was like, well, you just lost 3/4 of a second right there.
Right.
And she promised me she wouldn't do it, and she didn't do it again. So let's see if we can see the screen. Looks like Alan Chan's going to come up to 2nd place, and Marco coming in 3rd.
Good swim.
I think Cade has some gills on him somewhere. I don't
think
know where.
he was born a fish. I remember seeing him at 8 years old and thinking, if this isn't a natural born swimmer, I don't know what is. His dad was a swimmer as well. Actually swam for Falston. So great family.
We'll
good
get those
family.
results later, but our first heat is coming up for the boys 100 freestyle. In lane 2, we have Tyler Young from Harvard Tech. In lane 3, we have Damian Lipinski Palmer from Aberdeen. Lane 4, we have Max Fulmer from Bel Air. And I wanted to go over a couple records, Kathy, that I didn't go over. And if I could find the girls, I would. In the 200 medley relay, the county record still stands. It's Kyle Rutherford. It's Seamount Wright with Kyle Rutherford, Tyler Kozar, former coach for Seamount Wright, Michael Starkey, and Ryan Baldino.
It's going to be a tough record to break.
4 boys that you and I both know very well. And
Ryan Baldino on the end of that relay, who was a CAA champion at Towson in the 50 freestyle.
Yes.
That is going to be a really tough record for anybody to break. I was actually looking at that. It looks like 2018 was a great year for records in the county.
So following that right up, 200 freestyle record, Ryan Baldino. Seamount Wright, 2018, a 145.5. And we talk about comparisons. I don't think I could run a lap around track right now in 145, let alone swim 8 lengths of a pole. I might not be able to walk up down the deck that fast.
Right. I mean, that is a really fast time.
So in another person near and dear to our hearts, and Dad's walking by on cue, Rich Young, the 200 IM record is Mason Young, swimming a 154.59, and then another Ryan Baldino record from 2018 in the 50 free in a 21.21. Then we have the 100 fly is Cade Snyder's record in a 49.17.
Great swim there by the Bel Air swimmer. Looks like he gave it his all. And here we have Heat 2 coming up. So lane 1 is going to be Alec Fox of Perryville High School. Lane 2, Joseph Rubles of Edgewood Rams. Lane 3, Jack Abel of North Hartford Hawks. Lane 4, Holden Coe, Perryville High School. Lane 5, Parker Sullivan, Rising Sun. Lane 6, Aiden Boudhou of Patterson Mill.
which might not be in
No?
it anymore. So this is our new
Oh,
one.
we have a new one.
Yes. So we
So
do
my
have
apologies.
So I will tell you real quick before we move on to this race that the 100 freestyle county record is also Ryan Baldino with a 46.77. So we still have, this is heat 2 of 7. And trying to think here, we should have some good battles. You're going to see the time discrepancies, as I said, be a little bit wider in the earlier heats. This one's as much as 10 seconds. But we see so much makeup on time at counties. Parents have asked me for years, Kathy, why do they get such a time drop in this meet? I'm like, well, it's the competitive nature of counties. 2, in a regular season meet, you might be swimming against somebody swimming 15 seconds faster than you and 15 seconds slower than you. And it's harder to push yourself,
No, 100%.
whereas here, the times get closer to your time, and it's easier to be challenged.
Right, you're really racing. And you're also doing it like we talked about for your team. So, you know, having something that is for the good of everybody sometimes can push you a little bit harder.
So let's see the difference in turns here, Kathy. You'll see we had a little marker move there in lane 4. We had that problem last year with the timing pads. And thank you to Mr. Faulkner, who is probably downstairs right now. I think I saw him, but I know he was here last night. Tonight it might be Kristen Orm and Chris Bly, who are our tech people and at the table. But they really hold these meets together.
Right.
Your dad was an official, and I don't know if he does it anymore. For a very long time.
He does not. He is officially retired. He is in Florida right now.
So when we finish this race and announce the other one, I am going to do a shout out to our officials. So we are coming up to heat 3 here. Looks like lane 4 pulled that one out. Hold and go. So for heat 3, we will have Jacob Frucci from Havre Grace in lane 1, Jack White, Hartford Tech, lane 2, Mason Halter, Elkton, lane 3, Anthony Free, Havre Grace, lane 4, Miles Bykoff from North Hartford, lane 5, and Ben Hess, lane 6 from Patterson Mill. Shout out to our officials tonight. Our head official, the meet ref, is Tom Matasek. Our starter is Brad Pennington, and our stroke and turns are Kim Rosner, who is, I think, mom of the Falston coach. And we have Nikki Lohman, Paul McKendry, Renee Zeiden, and Kyle Phillips.
It's a tough job. And definitely a lot of time, a lot of standing. And the time and energy that they have to put into the training and the certification for that, really appreciated.
Well, the high school officials generally are the more experienced officials.
Correct.
But some of them do come out of the summer ranks, and we greatly appreciate them. A lot of times in the summer, you get anywhere from people that swam competitively and know the sport to people that were just willing to learn through years of being with their kids, and then they've learned and they put the time in for us.
I will say I was a USA official for a time period. It is definitely different how you have to look at the strokes compared to when you're coaching. So really, really great that they're able to do that for us. And again, it is a lot of time commitment, and you have all experience levels. So heat 4 coming up. Lane 1 is going to be Jacob Balger of Rising Sun. Lane 2, Ethan Wanger of Falston. Lane 3, Avery Krantz of Falston. Lane 4, Bobby Barris of Patterson Mill. Lane 5, Ryden Graham of Havre Grace. Lane 6, Samuel Chadwick of Havre Grace. So 2 Havre Grace right next to each other, and 2 Falston there in lanes 2 and 3. And I apologize in advance for any name challenges.
So let me pick up where I was before. So we have from Falston, we have Sarah Rosner and Sarah Rossetti, who are the head coaches. Captain is Avery Krantz. Patterson Mill, we have Lauren Reeves and Kelly Lipscomb as head coaches. Doretta Davies and Steph Dimson. Captains Kate Snyder, Matt Kim, Ava Shores, Molly Cooper, and Hannah Persings. Havre Grace, we have Charlie Callahan, been coaching for quite a while. First year head coach Carly Chancey, somebody that I've known for a while and used to help coach in a few little things. She used to take swim classes from me, play in the volleyball clinic that I ran. Kristen Baki is an assistant coach, and Stephanie Wagfielder. Kristen Baki also coaches the Aberdeen summer team. captains Jacob Frucci and Emily Ewers. So we have a good race here
Yeah.
from 3-4.
Had a little
2-3.
touchpad issue on lane 3. Definitely
Uh-oh.
moved the pad on the turn. Nothing in terms of disqualifiable offense there, but definitely as a swimmer, when you have something like that move, you're not getting as good of a push off of that wall. So you just got to really push through that, keep your head down, and keep swimming. But not ideal when that happens for sure. Hopefully they can maybe get that corrected on deck. Sometimes it's just the angle of how you turn too. But looks like lane 2 did sneak in there. So they are getting ready to come up on heat 5.
So why don't you get that one for
Let
me
me
there,
go.
Jeff?
Lane 1 is Evan Michalak of Elkton. Lane 2, John Sprouse of Elkton. Lane 3, Tyler Tran of Sea Milton Wright. Lane 4, Christian Lewinsky of Falston. Lane 5, Alex Park of Aberdeen. And lane 6, Kirk Tran of Bel Air.
So while they're getting ready to start, I'm going to finish the last couple teams. For North Hartford, we have Thea Papadopoulos, Hillary Canal, and we have captains are Anna O'Leary, Val Angelo, and Michael O'Leary. Aberdeen, Laura Snyder, and Emmy Chomos. And Brenna Angin is a assistant. Are we missing somebody?
Looks like we're missing lane 3.
Oh, that's the Sea Mountain Right boy, and that's not good. I don't know why that's happening. So basically, Joppatown is the most veteran staff. You got Chris Ply, 20 plus years, assistants Sean Chapetta and Karen Gonzalez, 15 plus years, and I'm not sure the last name here, Sam Cates.
So
she was funny. She goes, yeah, I've only done this for 10 years. I haven't done as much as most people. I'm like, well, 10 years is a very good
time.
thing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember when she was swimming at Falston. She was in a couple of stroke and turn clinics when I was doing some of that work. So, yeah, looks like we have a really great race here. Going to start to get a little bit, looks like quicker as we're getting into these heats. So, lane 4 really coming away with it.
Yeah, I'm wondering what happened to Tyler Tran because he just swam the IM and he seemed fine. And I hope there wasn't a mix-up on the reseeding of the heats and he thought he was in a different heat. So,
right, because I know the program, which is what confused me earlier. Well, here's heat 6 as we're looking through that. Lane 1 is Michael DeJesus of North Hartford. Lane 2, Kieran Abbey of Rising Sun. Lane 3, Harry Palsett of Falston. Lane 4, Justin Ing of Aberdeen. Lane 5, James Cassidy of North Hartford. And lane 6, Bailey Heitzer of Bel Air.
So you will see, as we said, the times get closer here. So
that extra breath might mean the difference between 5th place and 6th place, or 1st and 2nd. So the 100 free, definitely an event where it is really a sprint. Obviously not as quick as the 50 free, but typically you'll see who's good in the 50 free is also really good in the 100 free. Rare that you would have a non-sprinter, not that they couldn't do this event, but you can see as lane 4 is really taking it out, that nice 6-speed kick. Good breathing pattern, no breath into the wall.
Well, he also had, on his dive, he had the most length. He had a half body length on everybody else.
And Justin Ing is a Fountain Green swimmer. So my other coaching gig for all those years, summer swim at Fountain Green. My daughter's now coaching there as well. I know Jamie was a coach, and he's doing a great job. But here comes lane 3.
Yeah, lane 3 is coming on strong. Lane 2 is even closing in. So basically,
there you go. Lane 3 got it. Harry Palstad.
And
Falston, freshman.
Justin's only a freshman, and he's a freshman. Wow.
Yeah. Some good battles for years to come, probably, between those two.
Like I said, that Falston has multiple siblings swimming. So the fast heat of the night for the 100 free folks: Trevor Downs, Sea Milton Wright, lane 1; Logan Weaver, Bel Air, lane 2; Gavin Carson, Hartford Tech, lane 3; Jacob Klein, Elkton, lane 4; Rory Jenkins, Hartford Tech, lane 5; and Benjamin Schultz, Rising Sun, lane 6. So
talking about that 50 to the 100, Rory just won the 50 free, so I'll be curious to see what he can do here. Although his time coming into this, the top seed is lane 3, Gavin Carson. So we'll
Gavin
see
did
how
this
he
last
does.
year and won it too.
Did he? Okay,
Yes.
so we may have a 2-time. Great turn, great turn.
Gavin is one of those kids also who could swim anywhere from the 50 to the 500 and even do a good IM or stroke. So it'll be interesting to see. But he was deciding between 50 free and this.
What did he want to do?
He decided this one, and he was also deciding between the backstroke and another event. I know this through multiple a friend of his, Alan Chan, was talking to him, and so
there you go. Great.
Looks
swim.
like lane 2 is going to steal second place, maybe. That would be Logan Weaver. Logan's another one. He can do 250 to the 500. That's a rare ability to be able to do that. So now we have heat 1 of the 500 freestyle. I've tried to swim sets of 500s for workouts, and those days passed by about 20 years ago, Kathy. I am not going to swim 500 anymore. How are you for distance?
I didn't love distance, but I will say in my older age, I probably swim more distance than anything. I'm doing a 100-mile swim challenge right now at the gym, which has really strongly been encouraging me to get my laps in.
That's amazing.
Because I only have limited time.
So we have in lane 1, we have Con Sarin from Edgewood. Lane 2, we have Max Cullison from Hartford Tech. Lane 3, Porter McGill, who I used to coach, is on Bel Air. We have Zach Patton in lane 4. We have Timothy Kassenbaum in lane 5, and we have Noah Hamilton. So this is 20 lengths of the pool, folks. Let me let Kathy tell you the different psychological things and strategies that people might use here.
Right, so what we were talking about even earlier in the 200 free is, do you want to take it out quick and then kind of get ahead where somebody's going to maybe give up? But that's dicey if you can't hold that pace for the entire time, because you could have somebody who says, I don't care how fast you're going to go out, I'm going to swim my race and I'm going to pace it, and then be able to still come back and maybe, get you at the end. Nothing worse than swimming, maybe 19 laps and then losing it on that last 25. So definitely a lot of strategy involved. Also have to know, how do you swim and how do you like to swim it? Do you want to be out ahead? I know when we always watch the great Katie Ledecky at the Olympics, she's always just taking it out and really is crushing everyone.
She's actually getting beat now. Kathy, what's going
on with this?
Only
in the 400.
It's that
the
girl
800
from Canada?
and the 1500 is not, her 400 free, I think, it's almost too short for her. But, so definitely that strategy, try to figure out how do you want to swim it and how do you like to do that. You'll see at the end of the lane, they have their counters there, because I don't know about you, but even when I'm swimming now, I still need to do something to make sure I don't lose track. And sometimes I question myself, where was I? Because I don't have a counter.
Well, you were coaching a couple of the years where we actually had some swimmers miscount and do an extra 50. And it even happens in the 200. And it can be difficult. And explain some of the signals that the people do for holding the counter.
Yeah, so you'll see if they're on pace, maybe they are shaking it up and down. If they're off pace, maybe doing side to side, something that normally you talk about. And then at the end, see how side to side they're doing that for lane 2? Maybe that's their signal to say, hey, you need to pick it up a little bit more. Normally when you see that last lap, so that's when it'll go to that orange color, they're going to really shake it up and down, like go, 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 go. But normally that's something that they talk about with whoever's counting for them. Let me know if I'm on pace or not, and what's that signal going to look like. So kind of interesting, because you can't always see the coaches, and it depends if the coaches can. And we have somebody doing butterfly down here in the other lane, so that's interesting. In freestyle, you can swim any stroke that you would like, as long as you don't re-submerge. So I don't know, maybe there was a challenge involved there that somebody said, hey, go out and swim a 500 butterfly. I love butterfly, and you couldn't convince me to do that. So now we're back to, he's got some freestyle going on there. So
the psychological part you talked about, similar to running, where people try to draft on you by running right on your shoulder, right on your back, and you tell yourself in a distance swim, in a middle distance or distance run, the other person does not know how you feel. So if you get at the 250 mark and you're like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to out-sprint this person. So I need to be able to, middle third of the race, put a spurt on.
Right.
So I'm going to do a quicker 75, see if I can break them, and then if I can break them and they give up on me and I can get maybe a 15-yard lead, then maybe they won't really be able to notice that I'm tiring out
Right.
until it's too late.
Right. Because they maybe aren't swimming their race.
Right. Right.
So that is definitely in the longer events, you'll see a lot more of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
So other thing you'll notice too is when do they put their kick into it. So you'll see our swimmer right now who's out ahead. He is on lap number 13, it looks like. So you notice initially he wasn't kicking as much, but now he's actually putting his legs into it. Also, you know, some consideration, when do you want to do that? A lot of strategy involved.
Right. So right now I have down here that in the 100 free that just passed, that Tyler Tran is a declared false start. So without being down there and knowing what's going on, is he not feeling well? Did he injure himself? And if so,
what happened?
What happens to the remainder of his meet? I do know he's in the 200 and 400 free relay. So if he's unable to swim, then Jamie and Travis are currently figuring out which alternate they're putting in.
Right.
And
scramble at the last minute.
I'm sure you've been there before with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many. Kathy not only coached club for years, and she coached Fountain Green for many years, and her daughter Carly swims for Fountain Green, but she also coached Sea Mountain Right for how many years?
Oh, I guess it was, I should know this off the
So
top
you
of
were
my head,
with-
but I'm going to go at least 7.
Yep. So
Yeah.
you were with Terry Dunnigan some of those years.
Terry is the one that found me and dragged me
Okay.
back into the sport.
So when I was telling my dad who I was doing this telecast with, he said, "The skinny pretty one." I'm like, "Well, Dad, that's both of them."
Oh, that's so kind.
And he remembered you, and I said, "So, Dad, most of these coaches put in a good 5 or 6 years or so, and they kind of rotate through the ranks of youth, and then some of them do club, some of them do summer swim only." Some of us have been involved with swim lessons in the county because it's our passion
Right.
to teach kids how to swim. I just ran into one of my former swimmers, Charlotte Jacobs, who swims for Arena Club here with Megan Wynn, and Charlotte's one of the champions in the county now, and I remember when she was taking lessons from me and she didn't want to do any laps.
Right.
So
we got the last 25
he's
here.
got this in hand pretty
Yeah.
good. I like his whole pace.
Yeah, he did great. Now he's really, like I said, putting his legs into it. You can see that kick picking up.
So I'm trying to talk Kathy out of retirement one day, Coach, the fans, and she said, "Let my daughter finish high school swim
Yes,
first."
yes.
Very good swim there. They just
Yeah,
won.
I am super uber right now for
Yes,
all the
uber
practices.
mom, yes.
The commitment that swimming requires for
That
families
looks like
is
Porter there. It's
unbelievable.
Porter
Yeah,
McGill.
Porter McGill.
So Porter
Great
swam
swim.
for me at Maryland Golf when he was a little boy, and Mom's a super nice swim mom. And you know what? If I would go back to old Porter, and say, "You ever think you're going to swim 20 laps in a row?" He'd be like, "No way,
way."
Coach. What are you talking about?"
He's come a long way.
Yes, and I think he's only a sophomore, junior?
Sophomore,
Wow.
yeah.
I wish I could see the times better. It's a little bit of a blur to me,
Yeah,
but
can't
I
see
have
it
a
from up
feeling
here.
he's going to have a big time drop.
Very
Which,
good swim.
will it sneak in? Will it sneak in
Yeah,
Heat 2?
maybe he'll move up.
So Heat 2, we have Caleb Bischoff from Aberdeen in lane 1. Michael Pape is coming in lane 2. Ian Merrill, lane 3 from Bel Air. Ethan Ryan from Aberdeen. Lane 4, Shane Stradling from Haverty Grace. In 5, Tyler Sweat, another one you will know. In lane 6, Tyler's older brother Addison graduated last year, near and dear to our heart. And his parents, Michael and Kim, are like the perfect summer swim parents. Kim does odd jobs for everybody, and Mike mans our table and keeps things straight.
Right, all things tech support.
Yes.
No,
Mike's
great.
one of those people I call up when I have a computer question.
Yes.
And his first advice is usually, ask Jamie or Travis to do it for you.
Good advice.
Yeah,
Good
I'm
advice.
I'm the typical dad who's like, how do I do this? And I hand my phone or my computer to a younger person.
It is amazing. Well, when you grow up with it, very different situation.
There's Travis. He just walked down the deck and he's wearing a winter hat in an indoor natatorium where it's 100 degrees.
Maybe it's the style, you
He
know?
looks- he looks
I mean,
good.
He
He
looks
looks
stylish,
good, yeah.
so
He's just hoping to not run into our head official. You know, he's a very solidly built man, and Travis said he accidentally bumped into him last year and felt like he was going to go down like he was checked, like a lacrosse player. I was
like,
well,
got checked.
Don't run into Mr.
This
Pennington.
is swimming, not lacrosse. All right, well, definitely looks like they're taking it out.
Yes, they are.
Pretty strong. I mean, this is another one of those events, I think, years ago was not a, thought of as kind of a sprint or mid-distance event. It's definitely at minimum mid-distance now. Sometimes people are even thinking of it as a sprint. I know for me, when I was swimming, you couldn't have, I would do it if you made me, but I wasn't interested in doing anything above a 200.
So you're going to notice the arm pace right now, and for some people that are not outstanding swimmers, they're going to say they look like they're sprinting. Now, you said it before. Sometimes people like to get out and set a pace.
Right.
So you might be able to do let's say you're doing a 550, 500. That's a 110 per 100. Now, he might go out in the 103. But it's not going to average 110s, but it's the psychological part. He might go out in a 105 and then settle into 112s on the middle three and then bring it home.
Yeah, Ethan actually swims at Fountain Green in the summer. I've seen him multiple times at practice there. Really, really dedicated, hardworking swimmer. So I'm not surprised that he's taken it out. Hopefully he can maintain this pace. So we'll see. That stroke rate really is something to think about. How are you going to be able to maintain that over 20 laps? And what is that going to look like at the end? You don't want it to slow down too much. He definitely looks like he is, slowed a little bit, which will be expected during this portion of the race. But he did, to your point, he got out ahead. He's got nice, clean water. Nobody's drafting off of him. One of the things you always tell distance swimmers, especially if you're close to anybody, is make sure you swim in the middle. Good advice for any swimmer. Don't swim in circles. During practice, they swim basically in a circle. Down the right, come back the other side. But definitely not what you want to do in a race.
No, I'm liking how Ethan Ryan, though, is keeping him in sight. So Ethan hasn't gotten broken yet. I'm not saying he's going to be able to keep. I'm sorry.
He's out in front. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm
Shane
talking.
Ian
Merrill. Ian might not be able to catch him, but he's giving himself a chance.
Stay with him.
Right. Now what happens here is a cat and a mouse thing here. Every time Ethan makes a turn and he sees him, he says, oops, he's creeping in. I got to break him a little bit here and try to pull away. It's a very, very psychological race.
No, definitely. And it looks like Michael Pape is down there in lane 2. Doing a great swim as well. We just saw him. That was a pretty quick turnaround for him from the 100 fly, going right into that 500 free. Also some strategy involved with that from a coaching perspective.
Right.
Do you have swimmers who can swim back-to-back events? That is definitely not an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination. I know I made that mistake a couple times with a 100 free and a 100 fly, and had to really rethink how we were going to do that, because it's tough if you only have a couple of minutes in between.
Most time coaches try not to do that to their swimmers, but you can do it differently from a regular season meet to a championship meet.
Yep.
So we asked a wonderful young man, Ryan Pham, to do that for us last year. And we didn't want him to do that but because he's a great IMer and other strokes. But we already knew that we had a great IMer in Addison Sweat, and we had another very good IMer. So we asked him to do that, and he still finished top 5 in both.
Wow, that's fantastic.
But it does take a little bit of a special person, because you got to block out the pain. You got to tell yourself, I'm not tired, I'm not hurting, and then you got to fight through that. Now, I had a young lady last night that came up to me, and she had to do the 500, then the 200 free relay, and then the backstroke, even though there were breaks. And I said, stretch.
Right, and it's especially hard with a pool that doesn't have a warm-up and cool-down area. I was going to say one thing, watching Ethan swim here, he is breathing every 3 strokes, so you will notice that he's doing bilateral breathing, so that means that he's breathing to both sides. So it looks like he was keeping that every 3 strokes, which is fantastic. For balance in swimming is great. I mean, I know when I was swimming, they really only taught you to breathe to one side, which does make your stroke a little bit unbalanced. So great that he's able to maintain that. Some swimmers do have that side preference, though, but he's doing a fantastic job. Looks like he's able to maintain it. He's actually looks like he's picking up his stroke rate a little bit more as he's coming into these last couple of laps. It looks like he's got a 75 to go. Yeah. So we're at lap 17. But, you know, Bel Air, they're holding strong over there. Ian Merrill, he's definitely still in this race.
And I will catch you up on the team scores after the fast heat here, folks, and we get to the next break for podium presentations. And again, another shout out. I can't speak for everybody, but like we talk about the sacrifices you're making. Tyler Sweat, he was asked to do the 500 this year as a freshman, and he's doing it for the team, and look at him go.
Doing a great job over there.
Yes. You'll notice a big difference between freshman year and senior year on strength and endurance. Yes. So here we go with them shaking the.
Yeah, saw them shaking the
counter.
Last lap.
This is all adrenaline right here, Kathy. Your body's telling you this is really tough, and you just got to pound that water and finish and get to that wall. Good swim.
They're really good swim.
So is this lane 3 should be coming in for second place?
Yeah, so that was again a great swim. It looked like for Ethan. Looks like he dropped some time. Definitely took that race out. Was very aggressive. And there comes Michael Pape in there for third place in this
Yeah, and that's
heat.
another example. Michael Pape is used to doing butterfly and sprint freestyle and other stuff. And here he is as a freshman
doing the 500. Yep.
It's like lane 5's coming in fourth place, and let's see what happens between 6 and 1. So Tyler Sweat's pulling out the 5th place.
Great kick at the end here.
Pretty close
Tyler.
for these two. Yeah.
Got the last heat.
We have one more coming up, folks, and it is the fast one. So here we go with Tanner Carson from Harvard Tech in lane 1. Luke Bahala, Seamount Wright in lane 2. Colin O'Hare, Bel Air lane 3. Luke Allman for Falston lane 4. We have Gavin Rogers, Bo Manor in lane 5. And we have James Estep from Elkton in lane 6. And what's interesting about this is Colin should be the favorite. I'm interested to see how close the others can stay to him. But like somebody like Luke Bahala has to try to race Luke Allman, who's 2 lanes away from him.
Right.
If Colin pulls away, you have to do your best to stay with that other person. So I know Luke Bahala is battling a little cold right now, so you wonder how much it's going to affect the 500. But it looks like those 3 lanes are taking it out right now.
Yes. Great turns.
And you will say how important walls are. Obviously, we talked about the start and turn in the 50 and 100, but length in your flip turns and walls really saves you some energy if you do them with power and speed.
Right. Well, you want to get that good streamline. That is the most efficient you will ever be with the least amount of drag is coming off of that wall.
Right.
So you want to make sure, as I will always say to the kids, it's like free money. It's free speed off of that wall. So you want to make sure that you are utilizing every aspect of that. You don't want to stay under maybe as long in the 500 because then you do have that oxygen debt that you're going to go into. But definitely want to make sure that you're still getting a really good wall. He's really taking it out, doing a great job. Notice he hasn't even really put his kick into it fully.
No. And it's really
strategy.
Showing my age. I remember when Colin was a little boy, and he did some of my swim classes too, and then he joined a club from there. And sister's a good swimmer, and looks like Luke Allman is getting a little bit of a space between him and Luke Bahala, and looks like Luke Bahala is getting a little bit of space between him and 4th place.
Yeah, and you can see he's definitely his stroke. He's nice and high in the water, which is awesome. Again, helps out a lot with that stroke rate. Almost looks like a paddle through the water. He's got a great pull, which is what you want for distance swimming for sure.
One thing you have to watch out for in the 500 is the psychological part. When you're in an outside lane, and we talked about this before, and you've got 4 swimmers in the middle of the pool swimming this fast, and you're not having anybody right next to you, you have to have the ability to swim against the clock, follow your counter signals, follow your coach's signals. I've asked a lot of swimmers, I've gotten different answers. Can you see your coach and hear them from the side?
Depends how loud they are.
Yes. So if it's Kathy Bendis, yes.
I've been told I'm even louder without a bullhorn.
So the thing is, you got like, some kids have said, not at all. I don't hear or see anything. I just focus on my race and the swimmer's next to me. Others say, yes, I can. But the thing is, that young man in the last heat that did so well,
Ethan Ryan's right. Is he going to sneak up on
Is he
going to
sneak up on the two outside lanes here?
You really got to make sure that you're swimming your fastest, and you can't worry about, sometimes you got to put the blinders on and just go. I will tell you, my daughter said to me that she actually gets more motivated when she sees other coaches cheering for the kid that she might be swimming next to, which is kind of interesting.
That's funny.
And we were talking earlier, when we watched the last heat in that race, and that swimmer was doing breathing every 3, and you watch Colin, Colin, right?
Yes.
Swimming here, and he's breathing every stroke. So just a different preference, and he's breathing to one side, so that's really kind of how maybe he gets into his rhythm. So he's doing a fantastic job, and again, he still hasn't really put his legs into it, so I'll be curious to see what that looks like, maybe the last 50, hopefully definitely the last 25, where he'll really be trying to bring it home.
So that is a strategy for some distance swimmers, that they're not going to kick as hard in the beginning.
Save your legs.
Save their legs, okay. I save my legs all the time. It's called a recliner.
Yes.
And I just put my feet up, I'm working out my arm with the remote. Is that count? No? Okay, no. I would try to swim 20 laps in a row right now, Kathy, and I might need a resuscitation.
Well, they've been swimming So I guess the winter season started in November. You see Karen down there cheering.
Yes, I was going to point her out.
And you see another coach there, the Bel Air coach, is trying to urge him to pick it up a little bit more. So there you go. You saw the counter with their signal.
So when we catch her on the camera again, we'll point her out again. Karen Gonzalez, who I knew since she was younger, she comes up and gives me a hug every meet. She's a sweetheart. She cheers for everybody.
Teacher of the Year finalist last year, I believe.
Yes, in the gray shirt right there on the right. And last night, I saw her give an emphatic cheer to the one girl first, then the second place girl, then the third place girl. And I had a girl come up to me a couple years ago from another team and said, "Who is that nice lady that's always cheering for me?"
Right.
I think it's wonderful.
That would be Karen for sure. So here comes Colin. Really putting his kick into it now. You can see the difference from where he was earlier. It's going to be a good time, it looks like, for him.
Yes.
Maybe 5:07? I can't really tell
looks
from
like
up here.
Luke Allman looks like he's coming in second, and Luke Bahala from Seamount Right will come in third. I remember Luke Allman when he was younger, too. His mom said hi to me earlier. He took my swim classes as a little boy when Lily was swimming club already. And I remember him only wanting to come if the best two friends of his and him could swim in the same lane.
Well, that's important.
Remember when they're little like that, when you had kids do that?
Yes.
And Mom and I would say, okay, let's just give in on this if it gets him here. And look at him now. He's one of the top swimmers in the county. What a neat thing to see. And I had very little to do with that. But it's fun just to see them grow and do as well as they do.
That's the cool thing. You get to see everybody from summer swim all the way up to, when they are in high school.
Well, that's the difference in swimming. If you're coaching a sport like soccer, you might run into a team, another local team, once every year or two, and you don't see them all the time. But in swimming, you see each other a couple times a year in high school. You see each other at counties. You see each other in the summer a couple times. And what's neat about this is the crossover. There will be, use a program like Fountain Green. There are probably kids on that team that are swimming on 6 different high schools.
Right.
And then they run into each other. Justin Eng swimming for Aberdeen. Others swimming for Hartford Tech, some for Seamount Right. So we are at the break here. So what I'm going to do right now, folks, is I'm going to start catching you up on events, even if I'm ahead of them, because I like to read a little bit more than the podium. So we had an upset here in the butterfly,
did we?
Kathy.
Okay.
Yes, this new kid, Kate Snyder, came out of nowhere. So yes, to be expected, Kate Snyder wins the 100 butterfly in a 51.56, which is his best time in Hartford County this year. Suffice to say, I'm pretty positive he's going to break 50 at States.
Right.
So Alan Chan, love the young man. He's a great young man, captain for Seamount Wright. What a swim. He dropped over 2 seconds.
Fantastic.
And he
swim.
really took it out. And that was coming right off of the 50 freestyle, where he barely missed first place by a tenth of a second.
He just got warmed up.
So Marco, who you probably coached,
Yes.
Abersaces, if I'm saying that right,
Yes.
dropped over a second to get third place. And then Bo Kammerzelt from Elkton, only a sophomore, doing a 1 minute. That's impressive. He's going to be a strong swimmer. Christian Luzuski from Falston, 101.15, just barely by a tenth of a second off of his time. Kenny Chen from Bel Air in sixth with a 101.26. So good swims all around. I'm looking for any really impressive time drops here. I'm seeing Joshua Whipke, 13th place, got 5-second drop.
5-second drop, it looks like over here from a Hartford Tech swim. Or is that
That was him,
Whipke?
yep,
Okay.
yep. So good job all around. Wow. Okay, there's Alan going up to the blocks. I'm sorry, the podium. So there's Cade, and I want to say I thought the podium used to hold 6 places.
I thought so too, but maybe not.
I think that either we both dreamt the same dream and it never was.
You know what? They may have actually had you go up,
I think they
but they're
stood
on the sides,
yes.
yes. But now I guess they're just doing the top 3.
I think for time expediency
yes,
they're doing
yes.
that. So now I'm going to say the 100 freestyle was wow. Gavin Carson broke 50, so he did a 49.54 for first place. Logan Weaver had a 2.5 second drop to go to a 52.27. And then we had Jacob Klein from Elkton in third place with another 2-second drop for a 52.52. Fourth place, Rory Jenkins, 53.65. Fifth place, Benjamin Schultz, another coach's son, I think, 55.59. Trevor Downs snuck in there with a great time of 56.28 for 6th place. Great job.
And in first place, the time of 49.54 from Harvard Technical High School, Gavin Carson.
Seeing if I see any great time drops here, I do see that Alex Park, 13th place, dropped 3 seconds, so that's great.
Mm-hmm. Breaking into the 59.
Mm-hmm.
That minute barrier is always a tough when you get to that point. Breaking that next feet, the 2 minutes to the 159 mark, that minute down to that 59 is a big deal.
Yeah, I remember my son running track, wanting to break the 5-minute mile.
Right.
Like there's always those milestones.
That barrier, it's that barrier.
So Colin is coming up in the 500 free, and he swam a best time for the year. Colin O'Hare from Bel Air with a 5:07.87, dropped all over 7.5 seconds. Luke Allman, only a freshman, swimming a 5:15.59. That's good things to come there.
Right, yeah.
Luke Bahala, great job. I mean, not feeling 100%, going out there and dropping 11 seconds to a 5:18.88. And I don't know if my son was right or not, but he thought Luke's best time ever coming in was 5:24. So that's outstanding. Sometimes you swim on adrenaline.
No,
you know?
100%. And there's a lot of energy at this meet. And again,
Yeah.
you're representing your school, so there's a lot of motivation.
So then you have fourth place will be Gavin Rogers from Bow Manor with a 5:34. In fifth place, Tanner Carson, Hartford Tech with a 5:45. And then Ethan Ryan coming off of I thought he did another race recently, but he broke the 6-minute barrier, which is one of those things we talked about. So he got down to a 5:55. I'm looking for any other big time drops. I'm seeing time drops, but not big ones. And the record was Corey Knopp. All he did was swim this in a 4:37.05.
2004.
I think he had flippers on. This can't be real. Come on, Kath.
I watched him swim. It's real.
Jeez, whiz. I saw the kid do that at the 3A, 4A states last year around that time.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
amazing. You might not be able to get some teams to do a 5-person 5x100 relay and be
In
able to
that
keep
amount
up
of
with
time. I think you're right about that. That is quite the feat.
So I will do a little update on the scores right now, and it's pretty exciting. I'm going to say the four that are separating themselves are, I'll go from 6 up. Elkton's 88 points, Patterson Mill 96 points, C. Milton Wright 153 points, Falston 153 points, so they're tied. Hartford Tech 189, and the Bobcats 191. So I'd have to look for the overall results. We'll get them later. And I don't want to have to do math too quick here, but I will say that Falston was ahead last night. And if I can find my girls' results, I will tell you how many points they were ahead by at the end of the scoring last night. So the girls last night.
Combined scores?
Is that the combined? Okay, so that's good.
You just brought this in, hot off the press.
Gosh, Kathy, you're good. I asked for it and you handed it to me. Wow. Well, that's why women lead the world. So, 6th place with 262.5 points is North Hartford High School. Patterson Mill is in 5th place with 304 points. Hartford Tech is in 4th place with 317. Mustangs, C. Milton Wright Mustangs, 3rd with 326.50. And then Bel Air, 263. Cougars, 387.5. This is interesting because here's what happens. The Cougar girls gave themselves the lead for the overall. The Cougar boys are supposed to the Bel Air boys are supposed to outscore the Falston boys, but by how much? So now they have 4 events to make up 23.5 points.
See if they can do it.
That'll be close.
All right, we got the 200 freestyle relay coming up, so double points here.
So how are we seated for that?
This is going to be a big deal. So it looks like
Bel Air is seated 2.
Bel Air is, second. Hartford Tech is actually seated first in this. But let's talk about Heat 1. So lane 1 is Edgewood High School. Lane 2, Rising Sun High School. Lane 3, Elkton High School. Lane 4, Aberdeen. And lane 5, Haverty Grace. So 200 freestyle relay. Each swimmer is going to do a 50 freestyle. And strategy involved here, always trying to figure out, you have your top, hopefully 4 50 freestylers. Do you put your fastest person on the end? Typically, that's who you want for your anchor, but then normally it's your second fastest person going first, your third fastest going second, and then your 4th fastest going third is typically how you do it. But, sometimes people will switch it up. Maybe they want to get a really good relay split. So if you go first and you get a time, it actually will count for you for your 50 freestyle. So maybe your fastest person's trying to go for some cut or wants to try to get a faster time. So you may put them first to give them that opportunity. But really, again, some strategy involved in how do you want to do that. Also seen people load that end of the relay.
Yes.
Where they do, their top one again going last, but then their second going third. So it just depends how you want to race it.
The only other 2 things I've seen sometimes in swimming is if you have one of your 4 who is the best starter off of the open start.
Right.
And they get a really good reaction time. And let's say another reason is you have one swimmer, let's say you have 4 fairly balanced swimmers, but one of them is not good at the relay exchange. Then you might have them start. But I've actually seen on a rare occasion people doing a psych out where they put 2 of their top 3, 1, 2, and they try to get a lead and see if their third swimmer can swim fast, swimming scared.
Right.
Some swimmers swim better under pressure, some swimmers don't. So it looks like we have Aberdeen there, and I don't know if that is Justin Ang. Rising Sun. So he's coming on strong.
Some of the caps look a little bit similar.
Yes. So,
looks like it was lane 2.
Yeah, that was Rising Sun, came back and got Aberdeen. So, League 2, we have C. Milton Wright in lane 1. We have Patterson Mill in lane 2. We have Hartford Tech in lane 3, Bel Air lane 4, Falston lane 5, and North Hartford lane 6. Now, keep in mind, folks, these are each team's top seeded time of the year. We don't know which ones they loaded up in.
Right.
And most of the teams here don't have the
depth
to load up all 3. Like Falston girls were pretty deep, and they were able to do that, but they loaded up in 2, and they won the medley and the 400 free relay. So this, just as an example, you might see North Hartford's best version of their relay or you might see their best version be in the 400
Right, and
free
so
relay.
people know you can only swim 2 individual events in 2 relays, or you could swim 1 individual in 3 relays.
Right.
So it really depends how you want to do it. I am looking at Patterson Mill down there. It looks like they have Kate in this relay.
So they're
so-
putting it into this one then. You can usually tell right away by who's behind the blocks as to who's loading up and who's not. So Luke Bahala is leading off for Sioux right in our near lane, and I bring that up because he has to do this and then do the breaststroke.
Right.
So
And didn't he just swim?
he just ran the 500
Right.
as well. So he's back loaded, but that just happens to be his best event. And
And here's Hartford Tech.
So
The
who was
winner
in-
of the 100 freestyle is what that.
who was that in the lead there? Was that Cade?
No, that is
That was Hartford Tech?
Hartford Tech. Yes.
So Cade is probably anchoring for them if he's in this relay. So it'll depend on how close that they can keep themselves there.
Yeah, that was our winner of the 100 freestyle, Gavin Carson,
Gavin
that started
Carson,
it off
yes.
for Hartford Tech. They're definitely, looks like they're going for it as well.
So you got a good battle here.
Really hard to make that time up when you only have a 50 freestyle to
Right.
do it. As a coach, I particularly like to make sure my first and my last relay were my strongest relays if I had to pick. Just especially that 400 freestyle is not as dicey as this 50.
So what you saw there, Kathy, was a safe start.
Yes.
When you're leading by that much and you're
Don't
going into your
DQ.
anchor, don't DQ.
Don't give them any reason to question what you're
You see coaches
doing.
like you and I trying to get as close as we can to the end. They're going, tell them not to do it.
Right.
Fast
Safe start. Yeah, you don't want to give anybody any reason to question what you're doing.
So it looks
And
like,
again, those relays are double, so that's a big deal.
so it looks like we have Hartford Tech coming in first, Pattersonville with Cade coming in third. We got lane 5 stealing that, and then we've got C. Milton Wright coming in 5th here. Looked like Falston or North Hartford was in 4th place. So good race all the way around. Now we're going to our first heat of the 100 backstroke, first of 5 heats. You have Jack Chilcote from Falston in lane 3, Xavier Bondrel from Edgewood in lane 4, Isaac Smith of Aberdeen in lane 5. Now, you're going to talk about the technicalities of doing a backstroke start here, Kathy, and how you want to kind of arch over the water. You don't want to arch so much and go down, but you don't want to smack your back either.
Right. So one of the things with backstroke and what the officials are looking at right now is making sure obviously their toes are below the surface. Can't use that ledge to get any extra push off of the wall. But again, like how much do you want to pull up? Some kids you'll see actually try to like crouch in to the block. You really don't want to do that. You kind of want that back nice and straight so that you don't have that extra distance to go. But a lot involved with that, and how do you want to actually make sure you're getting the most distance off of the wall. Now they have a wedge. They
Right.
don't have one here.
Right.
But when you'll see, the Olympics in Paris this summer, they'll actually pull down, and there's a little ledge that they call a quote-unquote wedge that they can
Wow.
use to get a little bit more off of the wall. It's really hard because you could slip. For these swimmers, they're starting on that touch pad. So want to make sure your feet are nice and set, and whatever that works best for you to make sure you can really get that great extension. That backstroke start can be a make or break in a race. So
I was
very technical.
I was just got the joy of something that Kathy and I get all the time. Trevor Down's older sister Ashley just came in and gave me a hug, and it's the neat part of swimming, seeing your seeing your former athletes come back, cheer for their little brother and sister, and it makes you think, how is this a grown-up now,
Right.
with a real job or done college?
I think that about both of your kids, actually.
Yes. And you're like, it seemed like yesterday I was just helping this kid with swimming, and Ashley was one of my wonderful people that used to help me with coaching at the college and was great with the kids. So it's just the whole sport has a lot of that.
No, it's great to see, and they're finishing up here. And again, with backstroke, you have to stay on your back for the finish. One of the things we talked about in that medley, the IM, is that you can't go past 90. Same thing on the finish. They did change the rule where you can now actually be submerged at the finish. So before you had to have at least one part of your body extended. So you would see some of the Olympians, we might see it from Cade here, at least put their little toe out at the finish, but not the case anymore. You can actually be fully submerged at the end. So kind of an interesting rule change. So here we have Heat 2. We're going to have Lane 1 is Gavin Angelini of Hartford Tech. Lane 2 is Jack White of Hartford Tech. Lane 3 is Grayson Whaley of North Hartford. Lane 4, Amon Wright of Aberdeen. And lane 5 is Mason Kokominski of Joppatown. And I am so sorry if that was not the proper pronouncement. I am working on that as we go along.
Kokozinski is what it looks like to me.
Okay.
And
I was close.
even though that my name doesn't end in ski, I am very much Polish.
Okay.
So I've mastered many Polish names.
And as someone who had a very difficult maiden name, I can completely understand the dilemma on that.
So one
here
thing
we go.
I'm going to tell you is you look at the sideline, Kathy, it is so much less crowded than when you coached.
Yes.
But they've put more restrictions on the deck passes and this and that. It seemed like we used to have so many more people on the sideline, but they've asked for less.
It made it hard for the officials.
It did. It did.
I remember a certain person complaining about that to me. So it is hard, especially when the kids get so excited in those close races. And the officials, especially in the strokes, not necessarily freestyle, but you'll see them walking up and down the pool deck. They have to do that because they are actually watching, to make sure that everything is legal. And it was very hard for them when there was people standing in the way. So I know the officials are happy about that.
So I just think that what people don't understand about swimming, and I don't mean to be mean to the sports that think they're tougher, and they kind of talk down the swimmers like you're not tough because you're not hitting each other or you're not doing this or that. Swimming is a grueling sport.
It really is.
I mean, I've actually had some football players and baseball players and soccer players come out from my swim teams before, and they dabbled in a little bit of it, and they got through the first couple of workouts and tryouts, and they were like, oh my goodness, I'm going to throw up. And they don't understand how much work it is.
It really is, and the time commitments that's involved.
Heat 3 here, we will have Alex Guerrero from Patterson Mill, lane 1, Dylan Paoletti from Patterson Mill in lane 2, Matthew Walker from Seamount Wright in lane 3. We have Avery Adams from Fallston in lane 4, Kurt Tran from Bel Air in lane 5, and Logan Enfield in lane 6 from Perryville. It's a different toughness. People don't realize, I mean, your daughter Carly just finished her sophomore, or she's sophomore?
She's in her sophomore, yes.
And she's on Notre Dame
Prep and
Prep.
MBAC,
And
yes.
and Notre Dame Prep just won the private school championships. And what is the yardage that some of these kids do?
So I know for her, and she's obviously on a club team as well, but she has practice in the morning for an hour and 15 minutes, and then practice for in the pool an hour and 45 minutes, and then another dry land practice. So one of the things I think we've learned from other sports is that you really do need that cross training.
Right.
So when they say dry land, the kind of the deck work with the squats and the lunges and medicine balls. So you're talking about a good 4 or 5 hours out of a day to train when you're really at that level. So, and our swimmers in this county are actually taking the bus every day, most of them to a pool, with the exception of a couple of our schools. But, that's a big commitment.
It is.
It's a big time commitment, and the coaches especially too, because a coach has to ride the bus to and from practice each day. So, it is a huge, sacrifice sometimes for families, but you do have to have that mental toughness, and you really have to love it. Because that yardage is, you could be upwards of 10,000 yards a day.
I think we have a battle between Matthew Walker here in the middle lane and the young man on the outside here in lane 1. So let's see who's going to out-touch who.
It's like lane 3, you think?
Yes, and Matthew Walker, freshman for Seamountain, right?
Yeah, and that finish, you really want to make sure you are extending and kind of throwing back at the wall. So when we look at those backstroke flags, we always say, make sure you know your stroke count. And if you haven't swam in this pool before, make sure during warm-ups you got your stroke count. It's so important.
I remember Matthew when he was a little boy at his sister's volleyball practice, and he wanted me to dribble the basketball around with them. I asked them if you
And
remember
it
me.
looks like we're on heat 4.
Yes, it is.
So lane 1 is Ryan Hughes of Patterson Mill. Lane 2 is Mason Tran of C. Milton Wright. Lane 3, Justin Ing of Aberdeen. Lane 4, James Estep of Elkton. Lane 5, Ethan Ryan of Aberdeen. And lane 6, Ethan Fulmer of Bel Air.
So the score is getting closer, and I'll go over that as we
Oh.
can.
Had a little bit of a relax.
here.
Yep. So you see the starter, what they are looking for is to make sure that everybody's getting a fair start. So as soon as he says take your mark, there can't be any movement. Otherwise, it could potentially be a false start.
I will tell you while this race is happening that the Falston Cougars have a 14.5-point lead, 15.5-point lead over Bel Air right now. And
For the combined
for the
scores?
combined scores.
Right.
So it's going to be great. And credit to C. Milton Wright. I know people think I'm biased because my children were on the team, but any sport that they can have a 15-year run,
Right.
as you know, there was a lot of pressure on those kids to keep the streak, which is kind of a shame because each year should be about that team. And Falston had streaks, Bel Air had streaks, John Carroll had
Everybody's
streaks.
gone through it. Yep.
And the thing is, it's just an honor for anybody to win the county championship. So whether it's the Cougars or Bel Air getting the overall championship this year, great job to them and great coaches. And every team has their own
Just
pride.
like any dynasty, at some point,
Oh, yeah.
it's run its course,
well,
and then you just
you're
the
shocked
next
to
year.
hear this. They only have 17 kids on the team total.
Right.
We used to have 40, and you had to cut 20.
Correct.
So the thing is, kudos to the teams. I mean, Gavin does a great job
Great
at
swim
Bel
there.
Air, and Sarah does a great
So-
job at Falston.
We have Heat 5 coming up.
So Heat 5, here we go, folks. This is going to be fast. We will see if Cade can challenge his record. We have Theo Kidwell from Falston in lane 1. We have Colin O'Hare doing the backstroke from Bel Air in lane 2. We have Cade Snyder, Patterson Mill, lane 3. We have Gavin Carson, great swimmer tonight, Hartford Tech in lane 4. We have Tyson Book in lane 5, and we have Evan Goodell. I want to say this might be one of the most talented races we've had tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Colin O'Hare is a top swimmer, Cade, Gavin, Tyson. They've all won individual events, and they're in the same event right now.
Battle of the Champions.
So Cade's record is 48.84. Not sure how he'll challenge that, and if we could read the board right away.
He just swam the relay,
Yes.
so. For
Cade doesn't get tired. Come on, Kathy.
I don't know. What do you think? There's a lot of swimming, no matter what.
I know.
So we'll see what this last wall looks like. Can always tell where he is if he's coming up a little bit earlier or not. I would say, he definitely has those amazing underwaters, which makes him a great butterflyer and a great backstroker. So let's see this extension to the wall that Cade's going to have. Really, really nice. I can't tell. What do you think? Is that a 50?
Yeah, I looked
Maybe.
around that, yeah.
So a little bit blurry on our end of the screen here, but great swim by everybody.
Wow, 4 champions in one race. That's an impressive race.
Love to see the sportsmanship at the end.
So we have the 100 breaststroke coming up in Heat 1.
Last individual event.
It looks like somebody might have dropped because they have them spaced here. So we have Roman Davis in lane 2 from Havity Grace, and we have Asher LaRue from Hartford Tech in lane 1. Lane 4.
Michael O'Leary holds the record in this event?
Yeah, Michael O'Leary with a 1:0.18. So I'm wondering if he could break it here. If not, I would love to see him break a minute at
That would be
regionals
great,
and states.
yeah.
And,
So,
did I miss
sure.
one record, Kathy? Did I say? Oh no, I did say Corey Gopp.
Knopp, uh-huh.
Yeah, he is the robot who swam the 500 free in 4 something. So people aren't supposed to be able to move that fast.
Definitely an impressive record, that's for sure.
You ever swam in your training next to one of those people that just pounds out workouts like that, and you're like, would you act a little bit tired, please, so the rest of us don't get in trouble? Come on. Yeah, I had
Distance swimmer normally.
Yes. You're like,
Like, how are you still holding that pace? What is happening right now?
I'm tired from the 200 skips, and you're still, going strong on a set like that. Come on. This is a stroke where I feel like I'm going backwards, It is such
So what you're saying is it's genetic.
yes.
Other than Travis.
Jamie,
Travis
Travis was a good breaststroker. It's so intricate in the timing of pull, breathe, kick, glide, and how long do you glide? Some people, like if you
Gotta
remember
find the sweet spot.
well, the O'Mara girls who swam for USC Milton Wright, and Lauren had the record, and if she wouldn't have had the record, Julia would have had it. They were
Water bugs.
They looked like they weren't even. They were skipping on top of the water, and then I go all the way back to Kathy Rising, who
I swam with.
yes, and I coached her at Bel Air, and she had the record, and I did something the other day that it wasn't egotistical as you think, but somebody asked me, Google your own name, like you've ever heard people say Google your own name, what comes up? Well, one of them was an article from the Aegis from way back of Kathy Rising breaking the county record.
That's awesome.
And I think her dad or parent, one of her parents might have officiated too.
Yep.
But no, these breaststrokers that are swimming the breaststroke.
She's a very traditional breaststroke.
Is
Kathy,
she?
compared
Okay.
to I would say the O'Mara's, her breaststroke technique.
Right.
Very, very traditional.
So explain where you're trying to pull and scoop a little bit, and then you're reaching forward with your hands.
Yeah, so you're trying to create like the least amount of drag possible, obviously up front, and you still want to have that nice skull
Right.
out in front, but you have to. That timing is what is so critical in breaststroke. And again, as we were talking about it, when you teach kids, you teach them pull, breathe, kick, glide, and really when are you taking that? And some kids don't want to glide.
No.
Because if you are used to just consistently moving, and I don't want to miss this heat. So
And
let's
some
go
of them
heat
glide
two.
too much. Too.
Exactly. Got to find that sweet spot.
We have Elkton's freshman Cole Huss in lane 1. We have Avery Cranch from Falston in lane 2. We have Ben Hess from Patterson Mill in lane 3. We have Porter McGill from Bel Air in lane 4. We have Brendan Davis Romaine from Aberdeen in lane 5. And we have Austin Craig from Havre de Grace. And you're right. I'll just use an example. Travis's senior year, I asked Sarah Cowan, and I asked Emily Jordan, who who used to coach Fountain Green with Jamie.
Right.
And Emily was a breaststroker, and I said, I'm not as good at teaching a breaststroke as you are, but something is happening there's a hitch in Travis's breaststroke where it needs to be fluid. And once she got him connecting that, and more than any other stroke, I think if there's something off or even
a little bit,
even in their pull out, you see kids that seem like they go boom, like a water bug in segments where you want it to flow from your glide off the wall to your pull to your kick.
Well, and it's so, you can see all the different styles of breaststroke. So, the head bobbing up and down, some kids do that because they feel like that's efficient. You really want to try to keep that head nice and still, and you want to be like kind of pounding your head down, but not bobbing it. So that's tricky. And then how high do you get? So you'll see some kids really come out of the water. I'll be curious to see Michael O'Leary's breaststroke, but if you are more leg-driven stroke and you're really using your kick, you might be a little bit lower in the water than coming out as high. So if you have a little bit more of an arm-driven stroke.
That was a good win by Porter McGill.
Heat number 3, lane 1 is Jacob Frucci of Havre de Grace. Lane 2 is Evan Harris of Aberdeen. Lane 3, Matthew Kim of Patterson Mill. Lane 4, Ryden Graham of Havre de Grace. Lane 5, Nathan Wooster of Elkton. And lane 6, Cohen Schroeder of Rising Sun.
So we have I will update you on the scores soon. I will tell you after the backstroke. Let's see if it tightened up any here, Kathy. It
Another
is
individual event in the relay.
Hartford Tech is
Pulled ahead
they have
of
Hartford Tech
Bel Air.
pulling ahead of Bel Air and Falston. So Hartford Tech must have had a heck of a
They won the 200 free relay.
Right. So they closed down. This is I apologize. This is the boys only. So in the boys only score at the end of the backstroke, it is fairly close. Hartford Tech won with 255. Bel Air Bobcats second with 238. Falston third with 212. And C. Milton Wright fourth with 198. So a good battle in the team competition for the boys only. and then we will also update you on the other. Is this after the back?
Event 24. It looks like it might be.
Yes, so let's see if it closed up. It was still 15.5 points with the Cougars leading Bel Air. Looks like a two-team race right there. Looks like a good battle for third between Hartford Tech and C. Milton Wright. So should be interesting.
Yeah. Very, very close.
So look at this finish here. We have lane 5 winning that, and that would have been
Nathan Wooster.
Yep, so our heat 4 is going to be Joseph Forrest, C. Milton Wright, lane 1, Kyle DiFilippo, North Hartford, and then we have Axel Trelawney from Fallston, Aiden Knapp from Hartford Tech 4, Noah Dube from Fallston 5, and Jacob Jetzel from North Hartford in 6. So what you'll see here is the seat times are once again getting closer. Good battle could come out of 5 and 6 here, Kathy. They're within a second of each other, and the 3 top seeds are all within 2 seconds of each other. So
really good start on
wow,
lane 3.
Look at that! Yes,
nice pull out. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. You get that one pull all the way down. That's the only time you can actually pull past your hips. So when you actually do your stroke, you have to keep it out in front. Let's see how this looks. So you get one pull, one kick, and then you have to come up right there. Nice glide in front. Like we were talking about, you got to figure out how long do you want to glide to make sure you're still moving forward. And again, the trick with breaststroke is the forward. You constantly want to be going forward. You don't want to be going up, try to lose that momentum. You want to be accelerating forward with every single movement that you make. So again, nice pullouts from both of these swimmers. Good race.
I love seeing the time drops later on. You have Joseph Forrest in lane 1 here, and he's only a freshman, and he's not supposed to be that close to the leaders.
Right.
So he's obviously having a good race no matter what he ends up doing here. Now let's see who our stronger finisher is here.
And when we were talking about the different stroke techniques, you look at lane 2 with the overhand recovery.
Right.
Perfectly legal as long as your elbows don't come out of the water. But you see lane 3 with that underwater recovery, and just really, depends on your stroke style. Great swims. Looks like a lot of time drops there. Strong swim out of lane 2.
So here we go for the second fastest heat here. What do we got,
All right, so we got lane 1, Angel Rivera Ruiz, Aberdeen. Lane 2, Andrew Morgan of Bel Air. Lane 3, Alex Clement of Hartford Tech. Lane 4, Jacob Klein of Elkton. Lane 5, Jason Moses of Aberdeen. And lane 6, Tyler Sweat of C. Milton Wright.
So here we go here. These are the kids that want to sneak into the top 6 if they can, but let's see if it's possible. Somebody's going to have a big time drop. But we had a little movement here in the middle.
So as long as the official says, please stand, you're good.
Yes.
If you do fall in before they say that after movement, then that would be a disqualification. So, wow, look at lane 4, that breaststroke. One of the things I think as breaststroke has evolved is that kick not coming apart so much. So, where we're told to do that whip kick, some are actually teaching it almost a little bit more like a butterfly kick, and you can kind of actually see that here with our lane 4 swimmer, a little bit more undulation. So it kind of looks a little bit more like butterfly. I wish I would have known that.
He's
Maybe I would have been a better breaststroker.
I mean, he's just really...
So yeah, he's definitely slamming it, slamming home.
They're offering me free pizza, Kathy. They think I'm going to say no?
I'm going to take one too, so...
Oh, I'm going to take the pepperoni. Folks,
Thank you.
Ray Hers does not turn away free food. So.
But yeah, really great race here going on. Lane 4 still in the lead. Good pull out. Really like that stroke technique out of the Elkton swimmer.
Yes, he's attacking. You have the people, like I said, that seem to have the long, controlled strokes. And then you have the people that really attack aggressively, and he's an attacker.
Very, very nice swim. Can't really see the time. Might be 1:11, so could potentially, depending how the next heat swims, could sneak in there.
Yeah, that was a good swim. So
right,
for heat 6, we have the top 6 swimmers here, folks. Marco Aberzaces from Hartford Tech in lane 1. Gavin Rogers from Bow Manor in lane 2. We have Michael O'Leary, the top seed from North Hartford, lane 3. We have Garrett White from Bel Air, lane 4. We have Luke Bahala from Seamount Right, lane 5. And we have Sky Camerzelt. Now, what you see here, Kathy, is you see the top seed has a 104. The other 5 seeds in this race are all in the 108s.
Right.
So what could happen here?
Significant difference there. Really, really nice pullout. You can see he is attacking the water, and he's got that nice high stroke, but his recovery is still under the water. So very nice. Love to see him break his county record like we were talking about, maybe going under a minute. I don't know if that'll happen tonight, but
a lot depends on how much his counterparts push him here,
yeah,
right?
I was going to say, and the question is, how long ago did they swim these 108s? So
right.
Nice turn. So it looks like he's out in a 29, so might be a little tough to come back. I couldn't exactly see what that time was to break, that minute mark, but really nice swim that he's having here. Really great night for him.
I met him
Senior.
last year. He's a super young man, super nice, very respectful.
Event 23, boys 400.
One of those kids that can swim anything and do well, and he's very good at the butterfly as well.
You can kind of see that in his kick.
It's going to be a real good battle up here.
Maybe a 103. Really, I guess that would be a season best, it looks like, for him.
Yeah, so
nice swim
I
by
think
everybody
lane
in
2
that heat.
was second, and I think lane 5 was third. So we'll see the results later.
So do we think this might come down to this last relay? What are we
Oh
looking at?
my! So you know what? I'll tell you. It's Let me think this out. Hartford Tech boys really loaded up in the 200 free relay and the medley.
And so did Patterson Mill.
So did Patterson Mill. I know C. Milton Wright split the last 2 relays. So instead of loading up in one, they put 2 of their top swimmers in one in each, and then their next 2 swimmers in both. So you could see
some upsets.
Some upsets here. I mean, so let's see what we got
Talk about the strategy. Like, how do you want to do this?
So
they're getting themselves together.
Let's see what the difference is on times here if people are loaded up.
And from the coach's perspective, when you're looking at this, you have to submit your relay entries with the order that you're going to swim it
right.
Prior to the meet. So you would have an alternate in case there would be an issue with a swimmer getting sick or something during the meet or injured. But, the kids are lining themselves up. You got to make sure you go in the right order.
Yes, that is true. And I have actually seen that. I've seen it in both swimming and track and field. And, so you're talking about the strategy again is more important in the 400 free relay because it's a longer race than it is a 200 free relay. 200 free relay, it's got 4 people doing 2 fast laps, and
I think it's really hard to come back though. Like if you have that, if you get that lead and then you have the choppy water,
right?
You're not, swimming in the lead. It is hard to come back from that.
So typically, like you said, fastest swimmer 4th, second fastest first, then that you could go your 3rd and 4th fastest, either 2nd and 3rd.
Right.
I always wanted a strong second swimmer because of what you just said. Because if we all wish we had kids that could swim against themselves properly, but not every kid can.
Right.
And I was actually talking to one of the Seamount Right girls the other day, and she said, I can't swim my fastest unless somebody's swimming near me. And I said, well, we're going to work on that because you have to be able to.
Right.
So when I ran track and field, Kathy, I was lucky enough to anchor a state championship relay and indoor track, and I was not the fastest. But my coach had a philosophy. He put our fastest first, got us a lead, and the other 3 ran scared.
Right.
And
just go.
We didn't have to. In track, you have the jostling of changing lanes and passing each other on turns and stuff. But we got to run free and clear. But you know what? He found out that me and one other runner ran better scared than we did scared and confident.
Right.
We're in the lead. I can do this compared to, oh no, I'm 10 yards behind. Because what athletes
then
do,
you tighten up a little bit.
You tighten up. So if you tighten up in the water or on land, you're not going to have the same result. So it'll be very interesting to see. When we see faces out here, we'll know. But Cade's been used up. I think Gavin Carson's been used up in both I think Rory's been in
Rory,
both
yep,
too. So Hartford Tech was
So maybe Falston's strategy.
is balance.
Right.
Did we see Colin O'Hare in the 200 free relay?
I don't believe so.
I think Bel Air will have a good 400 free relay then.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that Bel Air should be strong. Falston, to your point, might be strong because looking at the Luke Allman and Tyson Books went on the 200 free relay, and they were both in the medley. So in the let's see here. So
just handed us the results of the breaststroke. Oh, here we go with this.
Tell us who's in the first heat here.
Let's talk about heat 1. Lane 2 is Haverty Grace. Lane 3 is Aberdeen. Lane 4 is Pattersonville, and lane 5 is Edgewood. So in the 400 free relay, each swimmer is going to do a 100 freestyle. So that is 4 laps of the pool each for that 400 free. Again, a lot of strategy involved with this. Did you want to talk about the breaststroke, or are you?
No,
we'll do
we're
that
going
when
to
we
do
get
all
to
the
the
results for when
championships.
they do the podium.
The podium, okay.
So here's the thing about the only thing I will say that I didn't say about the breaststroke was who the record holder was, and that is Michael O'Leary, as we said. But the reason I want to bring that up is we've seen the passing of the torch in the breaststroke.
Right.
Kyle Paxton broke the record at one point. Way back, Kevin Murak had the record. Somebody else broke Kyle's record before Michael O'Leary. I'm trying to remember who did that, but that's a tough one to touch.
It is a really tough breaststroke record.
I mean, I would say
getting under a minute is definitely tough.
His breaststroke and Cade's fly and back are going to be hard to touch for a long time.
Right.
So, and who would have thought anybody would have broke the previous back by Mason and Young and so forth?
Everybody just keeps getting faster and faster in this sport.
I know.
And, the evolution of the tech suits, I know we didn't have those there. It's amazing, now. And
but I haven't seen as many of them tonight.
No, I have not seen as many tonight, but they do just keep getting better and better with that fabric. Really try to make sure that speed is there. I also think we're getting a lot more swimmers that are sticking with the sport. Years past, you might lose some kids to some field sports. But a lot of them are sticking with it. I do think there was some effect from Michael Phelps where you had more boys actually getting into swimming, which was awesome to see. So definitely we're able to, maybe get some athletes that we wouldn't ordinarily have had.
So who is I'm having a brain cramp here, the really good girl swimmer from NBAC that was in the Olympics?
Katie Hoff?
Yes, Katie Hoff.
Yes.
So she helped the area too. So here's what I'm going to tell you here, Kathy. You want to know strategy and so forth. In the boys' standings only, at the end of the breaststroke, Harvard Tech has 280 and Bel Air has 262. So that might not be surmountable.
Right.
So it looks like there's a chance that Harvard Tech can hold on. So we talked about safe exchanges. So last year on boys' night, even though the C. Milton Wright boys won the 400 free relay, they won fairly convincingly. The coaches were saying safe exchanges.
Right.
So right now, the Harvard Tech coaches in this next heat
exchanges.
should
Whatever you do, don't disqualify.
because they should not lose to Bel Air by more than 18 points.
Right.
In that
but
event.
that relay is worth 40 for the winner.
Right.
And then 34 for second place?
Yes. So
yeah.
they should hold on even if Bel Air wins the race. Good battle for third in the team boys standings. Falston and C. Milton Wright going into this last relay tied with 218 points.
Wow.
So whichever one beats the other one will get third place. And you know what? People don't think that matters for the kids. It does.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does. Well, you want to represent your school and you want to be the one that can, say, I did it. So it'll be interesting to see.
So it looks like we have Aberdeen really pouring it on here. They have a couple really good swimmers in Justin Eng and I think it was Ethan
Ryan.
Yeah. And good job to the Aberdeen coaches. This isn't a sport where you can have a coach that doesn't have an idea of what they're doing, because it takes so much technique advice, so much strategy advice. There's Gabrielle. I think it's Gabrielle Rosso.
Yes.
I can't tell on the left
deck,
there.
Yep. Cheering him on. There's Coach Doretta down there for Pattersonville.
Yeah, I asked Gabrielle if I can just have some of her hair. I mean, I've got this big bald spot on the top, and she's got this.
She wasn't donating any to you? Okay.
No. So
Really
is
nice
that
swim by
Justin?
Aberdeen. That looks
I
like
think
that
it's-
is Justin, yeah.
He's only a freshman. He's going to get so good. So, sorry, folks. I had some people asking us what channel we're on. Not quite realizing
Whatever
we're
channel,
on air
Harvard
right now.
Cable Network.
Yes.
Right.
Whichever one you get. And I'm hoping this is getting out to some people on Facebook Live. And if you are watching this live, we will be on Saturday and Monday this coming week. So good job for the swimmers here coming in. Don't know
Got
if
the
they
anchor leg, it looks like,
Yep.
coming in for lane 5.
good safe exchange. So Kathy, have you ever swam a 800 free relay in club?
Yes.
Or college?
Yes, college.
Okay.
Yes.
I that's this level's version of a distance relay. One of my favorites in the Olympics is always watching Australia and USA men go
It's
against
going
each
to
other.
be a battle this summer for sure.
Is it? Okay.
Mhm.
Where are the
Australia
Olympics?
is Paris.
Okay.
Australia has really been coming on in swimming, so they have a very, very strong girls team, women's team as well. So it's going to be interesting.
I love
The
how
U.S. has a lot of work to do.
I was going to say the U.S. is usually great, but the rest of the world has caught up some.
Event 23,
Thank you.
Heat 2.
So here we go with what could decide boys standings 1 through 4, what could decide overall. And we'll get a new update for the overall pretty soon. So we have Seamount Wright in lane 1, Bel Air in lane 2, we have Hartford Tech in lane 3, we have Falston in lane 4, Elkton in lane 5, and North Hartford in lane 6. And you have some really strong swimmers on Elkton as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they could do here. Hartford Tech has the top seeded time by far. It'd be interesting to see what kind of depth they have because they
Right.
have used up a lot of good swimmers, but they have so many good swimmers.
Well, and like we were talking about, especially if you're swimming together each and every day and you're training and you're working out together, that just excellence breeds excellence, right?
Yes.
So, hopefully they can show some of that off now. It looks like Bel Air is definitely taking it out. So I'm
This
curious
might
to see if they
be-
can hold on to that. But again, it is a long race, so it is a 400 free. Again, each
Yeah.
swimmer's doing 100 freestyle, so depends on what that looks like. Maybe they said you have to get out. We need
Right.
an X number of second lead. As coaches, you know what your swimmers are typically capable of, so you may say that to somebody. You got to go as fast as you can possibly go because the person behind you needs 3 seconds because we know the other team has this person, and they typically go that time. So
Well, it would be like having to swim against an O'Leary or a Kate Snyder if they were Anchor or Gavin Carson.
Right.
You
Great
have to get a
relay
lead.
exchange in two.
Now, here's what I love about this relay, though. Any relay. Some teams' second and third swimmer might be faster than other teams' middle 2 legs.
Right.
So even though some teams get behind, they might be able to catch up a little bit. But let's see what
yeah, it
happens
looks like
here.
Bel Air. So this was our winner of the 500 freestyle, I believe.
Is this Colin?
Yes.
So, but we do have a slight
Like
challenge
race
coming
going
up
up
here.
in 4. It is a long race. Let's see where they are. Lots of excitement.
So
Bel Air was, where were they in the boys team standings here? So
they were in second,
They were
but
in second, so maybe we'll see what they did here with this relay.
like I said, I don't think they can catch up 18 points. They'll probably catch up some points, but not 18. So that's why they have to have
A
safe
strong relay,
exchanges.
yep.
So I would imagine Matt Weaver's in this relay somewhere, and we'll get those results a little bit later.
Really nice turn. Good walls. See what's going on down there in lane 4. Lane 2 is definitely, looks like they're
Yeah, it's a
kind of
one.
running away with it at this point. You got
Well-
one more swimmer to go. Anything can happen.
Well, we did predict this. We did
right.
predict that they had some
Lane 4
real
is
good
second.
swimmers left. So we got a battle here for 5th and 6th between C. Milton Wright and North Hartford in the outside lanes. As I said, you have to make that decision sometimes. C. Milton Wright and North Hartford decided to split their last 2 relays to be competitive
Right,
and
right.
get points. And
And it's all about points. How many points can you get?
Yes.
What is that going to look like?
But it
at
looks
the
like
end.
Falston is ahead of them. So Falston will probably finish third in the boys competition. So let's see here, Kathy.
Nice
They
shot
didn't
of the
show
relay exchange there on lane 3.
So Belair is still in a strong lead.
Looks like we might have lane 3 catching up a little bit over 5.
Right.
Looks like they did just pull ahead. Then we have lane 4, Falston. So it looks like Belair is going to finish in first in this one. Then maybe Falston and then Hartford Tech.
Yes.
Great way to finish up the meet. Last relay.
Well, this
Always
is
exciting.
This is the weird thing about this sport that people don't realize, and the effort that people have to put together. Now, the coaches get to have a 1-second break because they have to start thinking about their regional lineup.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they can
It's
tell their
never
kids.
ending. It's never ending.
They can tell their kids to go home and rest.
Yes, you enjoy tonight, and I'll be working on the lineup. I'll
Yes.
let you know.
Well, and it is different. You do have people do different things because of what we said before. This is much about the team competition. Do teams want to win a girls or boys regional championship?
Absolutely.
Yes, but your first goal is usually to qualify as many people as you can for states. So, you know, how many state championships have we had in the county? 2 from C. Milton Wright girls and a couple from Falston boys.
Right.
I think that's the only team
right.
state champions. And if people don't know this, Hartford County does a combined champion too. And as I said, C. Milton Wright has won that for many years, and there was a lot of streaks, but regionals does not have a combined score.
Exactly.
And neither does states.
Right.
So I know that Travis and Tyler Kozar did a nice thing just to tell their swimmers last year that combined boys and girls, they finished 9th place.
Right.
So it was just a nice thing to tell your team
Exactly.
that, yes, overall you finished 9th place. So going back into these history, it started with 4 years in a row of Edgewood High School. And people don't know that, but a guy named Fred Lee had the Edgewood Aquanauts, and they won the first 4 years. Then it was 1 year from John Carroll. They skipped a year for some reason. Must have been a weather thing.
Maybe.
And then C. Milton Wright won 1. John Carroll won 1. C. Milton Wright won 3. Belair won 5. Falston won 1. John Carroll won 2 in a row. C. Milton Wright again. John Carroll again. 4 for C. Milton Wright. 4 for Falston. And then 15 for C. Milton Wright. So it does roll in cycles. Other schools that have won titles, North Hartford did win a girls' title in 1917-18 season. They had a very good team with the Catcher-Brown sisters and a bunch of other girls. And then they also won a boys' title in 2009 and 10. And all the way back in 2002 and 3, Havre de Grace boys won a county championship. So we have had half the county has been represented.
No, it's definitely been, it does. It runs, streaky and really kind of, I think some of the summer teams have something to do with that as well. Like who has that good summer team? Right. Back when Mr. Lee was coaching for Edgewood, he had a phenomenal club team, which really, resulted in some great swimmers swimming for Edgewood. So
Falston was dynamic those years on their summer swim team. I would remember some of the names if I heard them. They were intimidating.
Yes.
They were such a strong team, and all of us in Hartford County took pride when they won those 2 or 3 state championships. Mm-hmm. It was a good representation for Hartford County.
Right.
And so now I'm going to start recapping some of this stuff now because, folks, the information is going to come fast and furious soon. So you're going to hear a couple cheers before they make announcements, because some spies will find the information and they'll leak it to their team.
Right.
Yes, and so In the boys 200 freestyle relay, Hartford Tech was first with Gavin Carson leading off, Marco Abrazesi second, and Evan Goodell and Rory Jenkins, and they did a 1:34.56. So that was a very solid time. Patterson Mill was second with Matthew Kim, Ryan Hughes, Joseph Sauer, and Cade Snyder. Falston was third with Theo Kidwell, Christian Luzetsky, Tyson Book, and Luke Allman. And then we have North Hartford fourth, C. Milton Wright fifth, and Bel Air sixth in the 200 freestyle relay. So you see the boys on the podium gathering for that. I love that in the Olympics. Talk about pounding water.
Right.
Olympic men doing the 200 free relay
Yes.
or 400 free relay. Oh my goodness. So 100 backstroke will be Cade Snyder, and it will be he dropped 3 seconds
yep.
to get to 53, but that is 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds from his best time, folks. That's how scary good he is. Gavin Carson had a good swim, dropped 0.4 of a second to get a 56.19. Colin O'Hare dropped almost 4.4 to get under 59 with a 58.97. Tyson Book had a good swim, 59.67 for fourth place. Justin Eng, excellent, another freshman, 106.4. Mason Tran getting in there for sixth place with a 1.3 drop in time. So excellent backstroke all the way around. I'm just looking to see if I see any incredible time drops. 14th, yes, Alex Guerrera, 119.71 to a 112.86. Matthew Walker, I'm telling you this personally because he was swimming above 120 like 3 weeks ago, and then he kept dropping 2 seconds. He went down to 112.81, so great swim for him. Seeing a lot of good freshmen today.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes too, that first championship meet really brings out the best in you.
Yes.
So it looks like we had a lot of those swims tonight.
So in the 100 breaststroke, we have Michael O'Leary, as expected, got down to 103.28. We have Gavin Rogers dropped 2 seconds to get down to 106.08 for second. Luke Bahala did pull out third place there, and I knew it was close with a 106.20. He dropped 2.3 seconds. We have Garrett White, who dropped down to a 106.53. We have Marco Abrazesi's got fifth place, and we have Sky Kammerzeltz with a 109. So we will see them put up the results soon, and we will probably spoil it for the camera here, but it's okay. For 400 freestyle relay, we did get Bel Air with first place with a 3:34. Kenny Chen, Colin O'Hare, Garrett White, Logan Weaver.
Big time drop for them.
Yes. So we have Falston with Harry Playstead, Theo Kidwell, Tyson Book, and Luke Allman getting second place. Hartford Tech with Evan Goodell, Aiden Knapp. Wow, Aiden got on that relay. Good for him. Joshua Whipke and Tanner Carson. That does show their depth.
Yes.
That is not any of their top 2 swimmers.
Right.
And they still got third place. Elkton pulled out fourth place there with a 3:51 and dropped a couple seconds. C. Milton Wright got in fifth place. They did well splitting their last 2 relays. They got a fifth and sixth out of split relays. Aberdeen, with a fairly young group, got sixth place. They have 2 freshmen and a sophomore and a junior, so good things to come for them. So I'm going to tell you here, I'm not going to spoil the fun here. I'm going to let it be announced.
Okay.
So, Kathy, what are your...
See the reaction from everybody on deck. That's the fun part about it.
So what are your thoughts about the meet tonight?
I thought there was some phenomenal swims. It's, really great to see, some of the county record holders still maintaining their county championships. We didn't see any records tonight, but it was great to see them swimming fast. I thought it was a fantastic meet. Really hope that the sport continues to expand.
21 on the podium, please.
So what we see here is Debbie Basler handing out the awards, as we said before. Debbie has a busy time of year coming up. Anytime you get to the end of the season. So she'll be here one night. She'll be at playoffs. She will be at so, like, I had 2 hot dogs tonight. I'm wondering, at this concession stand, I'm wondering how many dinners like that Debbie has
Right.
out at these events.
I don't know. I bet you she plans it out really well and has very healthy, as the supervisor of, athletics and physical education.
She probably eats a lot healthier than Ray Roos.
Hey, you do what you got to do, right?
That's right. So last night I actually went home from the meet and had dinner at 9:30 at night at the Tower, watching a couple of my cousins sing karaoke.
Okay.
So sometimes as coaches, you are eating off schedule.
Yes, no, for
You
sure.
know, and
I remember many of those nights.
So I am excited to see these results because we knew it was coming down to the wire.
Lots of excited parents, it looks like, on deck, too. Everybody's getting their cameras ready.
Yes. I was getting the pictures that we put together for the display last night, but I was smart not to get in front of any swim moms.
Yes, don't get in the way of the pictures.
That's right. They know me too. So you know, a good friend.
They'll tell you to move.
Laura Snyder and a couple of the other moms that I know were just like, Ray, let us take our pictures. No. So it was funny though, because when I told the girls, I said, they smiled at the 10 different cameras. And when I said, girls, look at me, this one's for the TV tomorrow. And they were beaming. They were like, okay. A couple of them were adjusting their hair. And,
of course. Want to look your best for sure.
So we've had some real great champions through the years. And I don't know if you remember this, Kathy, but we had years where it went down to 3 teams, like 10 points apart.
Yes.
And that was really fun.
It was. Very exciting, very competitive.
Mm-hmm. So there's the Bel Air boys up there.
It's really tough, to swim for high school and also to swim for clubs. So I know we've lost a lot of club swimmers over the years to the fact that you have to practice for high school.
Yes.
So it makes it very tough for some of these kids. So kudos to the kids who are swimming club and also doing high school, because that is a big commitment to do both practices. You don't want to make your club coach mad by missing their practice, but yet you still have to go to high school practice. So it does make for a very long evening.
It is tough, and it makes people have to make a lot of decisions.
Right.
They're doing the new rule in the county now. I don't know if you knew this. It's new that you can do 2 sports, and you could declare one of them your main sport and one of them your secondary sport. So, like Matt Weaver right there on the screen in the white T-shirt is, according to what I've heard, our county's cross-country champion. So, obviously, he's doing indoor track.
Right.
And so here's what people need to know about that. The kid is going to as many practices a week as he can in indoor track and as many as he can in swimming.
Right,
so
which is amazing.
He's not working or sitting at home playing a video game. He is busting his butt for 2 sports.
Let's not forget these are student athletes.
Yes.
And as I remind my daughter all the time, the student comes first.
Right.
So, the amount of academics that are going in before that and how they're getting all of their, homework done and projects and everything else that's going on in order to maintain that. And swimmers typically have a very great GPA.
Right.
So we know we have a lot. Oh, here we go.
In third place,
See Milton Wright? See Milton Wright, 4th, Fallston 3rd.
In second place, Bel Air High School.
Bel Air has 2nd place, so Hartford Tech is earning the Boys County Championship.
Boys champions.
A score of 312.
Congratulations to Hartford Tech. That's awesome.
Hopefully you'll see them come into the screen there. Looks like
Very excited coaches on deck.
looks like Megan Wynn there in the white shirt taking pictures. Their top girl swimmer last night. So Debbie is now going to present them with the plaque. I have many pictures at home of Kathy Bendis in this picture.
Yes.
With her cement right team.
I just found a mug with that on it. So
So
lots of great memories for years to come for these
to show
these
you the
boys.
pride factor of a dad, I have pictures with my Jamie in my arms as a baby in this picture.
Uh-huh.
Then I have one of her as a swimmer for you in this kind of picture. And then I have one of her as a coach. So that's kind of
awesome.
neat. And, these, Travis, similarly, he wasn't I gave up coaching by the time he was born for
That's
them.
because there was two.
Yes, 2 is so much harder than 1.
Yes.
But you know, the pride factor I have for them is the same thing as you see in all these other people that are coaching that swam. I don't think there's a sport out there that gives back to their own sport as much as swimming
No,
does.
I don't think so.
Grace High School in 5th place with
I mean, I'm a little biased when it comes to swimming is the best sport, so.
First place with 234.50 points. Bel Air High School in 3rd place with 243 points.
Bel Air's 3rd overall.
Patterson Mill High School in 2nd place with 249 points.
Patterson
And
Mill
in 1st
second.
place, Falston High School with 296.50 points.
Falston High School.
Let's see. We'll see them come out here.
See if we start to see the sea of orange. I don't know. I think it was me because I was here.
Kathy's bringing her alma mater good luck. So it
Yeah, but
looks
like it is
Falston High School
Way to go.
getting the
All
overall.
right, Cougars, way to bring it back home.
So hopefully
If
they
it
will
can't
bring
be
us.
C. Milton, let it be Falston.
So for those who don't know, we have regionals in a week and a half. 2 Saturdays from now is when we'll have regionals. They deliberately give them that break. And what you'll have happen now is teams will decide their regional lineup. So if you're a larger team and you have 35 kids, not all 35 will continue the rest of this season.
Right.
It might be 15 or 20, and that's your regional / state lineup. Makes practices different. You're doing something folks called tapering now, where you're trying to get the kids faster and fresher for the last 2 weeks of
A
the
little
season.
bit more rest.
So, Kathy.
Makes them happier.
Yes. Kathy, what are your final thoughts about tonight's meet?
No, I think it was a wonderful championship. Glad to see, again, the Cougars bringing home the combined team trophy. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to all the teams at Hartford Tech for winning the boys championship. That's fantastic. So many great swims. Again, it's going to be memories for these kids for years. Just so glad that this sport is still in Hartford County.
Yes.
And I'm just very proud to be part of this community. And it was a pleasure to be here with you this evening, Ray. So thank you so much.
As always, great job. And to wrap it up, we had the Falston girls win the girls championship last night. We had the Hartford Tech boys win tonight. I want to say Bel Air was very high in both standings, as well as the overall. Seamount Wright had a good week. Havre de Grace girls were great yesterday, probably the best Havre de Grace girls team I've seen. And then Falston pulls out our overall championship. Congratulations to Falston. First time in a while for them, but I think not their first one in the near future. I think we're going to see more of them next year with the young team they have. So again, thank you, Kathy, for being here. And thank you for those of you who are watching. For Kathy Bendis and Ray Haruz and Hartford TV, thanks for tuning in and seeing you for our next telecast. Take care.